Here we go. Pirro comes down to the wall. He has done it. He has won the Petit Le Mans, and like he did in 2001, he has clinched a championship, along this time with Frank Villa. 70 is the magic number for stars of the American Le Mans Series today. 3 teams who want to join the champion Audi squad as class champions must complete 70% of today's race at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. When that happens, the party can begin. So you must avoid the early mistakes. Look at the move underneath by James Weaver. 3 wide.
Oh, they make contact on 3
already.
cars.
Lato and Shimoda are off. Weaver is through. Lato, serious damage.
The American Le Mans Series. Cool cars, world-class drivers, premier road courses. Born in France in 1923 with the first running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the ALMS is the glamour, the glory, and the grueling reality of sports car racing. European style with American attitude. Drivers from around the world strut their speed, skill, and endurance. 4 separate classes racing on the track at the same time. It is the chain that connects the new and the faithful sports car fans of an extraordinary endurance racing tradition. This is the American Le Mans Series.
California's majestic Monterey Peninsula is renowned for its incomparable scenery, but tucked into the nearby hills is one of North America's most exciting road courses, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It's time for the 10th and final round of an already spectacular American Le Mans Series season with the 4-hour Monterey Sports Car Championships. Now, adding to the scenery here was the official unveiling of Porsche's first factory prototype since 1998. The LMP2 RS Spyder was initially slated to debut at Road Atlanta, but it was well worth the wait here. Clearly, Porsche is back with a vengeance and with Penske Motorsports to boot. The car immediately proved to be very quick, and in fact, Sasha Maassen obliterated the track record in qualifying. The car is spectacular. Now, being the final race of the season, our Pirelli storylines are all about the remaining championships that are open. In LMP1, only the IMSA Cup remains. That's for the highest-placed privateer team. In LMP2, it's much more wide open. The Drivers' Championship is still actually up for grabs, as is the chassis manufacturer, where Courage leads over Lola. The Team Championship, Intersport currently leads over BK Motorsports, and the IMSA Cup once again. In GT1, the Drivers' Championship is open, but it's an intra-team battle between the drivers of the number 4 and number 3 Corvettes, respectively. And in GT2, the Drivers' Championship is mathematically open, but the team title is what's close. Peterson White Lightning leading by only 6 over Alex Job. For more on all those divisions, we start in prototype with Calvin Fish. Cal?
In the LMP2 points, the championship is still open. Contrary to what we told you at Road Atlanta, Clint Field did not seal the deal there. He needed 1 additional point. This meant that the Mazda duo of Jamie Buck and Guy Cosmo still has an outside chance at this championship. Quite remarkable in the debut season for the Mazda-powered car. To do so, they would need to win, and for Clint Field, he would need an absolute disaster here today. Disaster was certainly the word in qualifying. His father, John, was behind the wheel. He had the throttle stick wide open, went off course, tried to get the engine refired when they told him back up. Eventually, that engine did blow up. They had to go to the backup engine for today's race. With Field out of the way, well, it left the door wide open for this new Porsche prototype. The RS Spyder, driven by Sasha Maassen, what a great performance here yesterday. Not only claiming the class pole, but he's 5th overall, splitting the 2 Audis on the grid. Sasha, many months of work with this car, a lot of testing. I'm sure you and Lucas are looking forward to seeing the green flag this afternoon, finally.
Yeah, we were counting the days to this time, now to this day, and yeah, it's a great day, and I think we did a good job yesterday, and we have to keep it up for today. Today, of course, means not only being quick, but being steady and reliable, and we think we are prepared, and we hope everything will keep, all the trouble will keep out of our way.
Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
As we look at the LMP 1-point standings, that championship has been decided in the favor of Pirro and Biela at Road Atlanta. All they have to do today is win more bragging rights for the off-season. But second place is very much up for grabs. Currently held by Chris Dyson, but he has a slender 3-point lead over JJ Lato and Marco Werner, so certainly a lot on the line there. But the car they're all going to be chasing once again is the very fast Zytek machine. Yesterday, young Tom Chilton from England put the car on the pole. The second race in a row that we've seen this car start from the pole position, but at Petit, we certainly saw a lot of drama there in the first corner. Now standing here on the grid with Tom. Tom, I'm sure there's been a lot of discussion about that start at Atlanta. What did you learn there, and how do you turn the speed of this car into a win at Laguna Seca?
Yeah, well, after Atlanta, I think everybody wants to see a good, clean race.
And we've all been chatting to each other up and down the grid just now, saying, look, we just want to get through the first corner and then we can race. And that's what people have come here today to watch. And the speed of the Zytek's been phenomenal here this weekend. And Arena Motorsport, my team's been working so hard on it. They've been up till 1 in the morning here again, working their butts off. And it's all paid off. It's a team effort, and I'm hopefully going to do the very best job I can.
All right, mate, best of luck. Well, that's the story in prototypes. For more on the production-based classes, let's go down to Brian Till.
In the GT2 Championship, it is in control right now with the boys at Peterson White Lightning. Jörg Bergmeister and Patrick Long, if they can finish 70% of the event today, they will come home with their first ALMS GT2 Drivers' Championship, and it will be the first ALMS Championship for Peterson White Lightning. But it will not be easy at all, as the guys at Alex Job Racing will have something to say about that. Romain Dumas and Timo Bernard in the number 23 car will start from the pole for the 7th time this season. Romain Dumas behind the wheel in qualifying, but it was not without drama at all. Young German ace Mike Rockenfeller and his BAM Porsche thought he had a legitimate shot at the pole, but on his quick lap, he was balked by Romain Dumas. He certainly let his feelings about that balk be known. In the GT1 Championship chase, it's a lot like GT2 from the standpoint the boys in the number 4 car, Olivier Beretta and Oliver Gavin. If they can finish 70% of the event, they will be GT1 champions. But if anything should happen to that team and they don't score points, the number 3 car of Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell win, then they will walk away GT1 champions for the 3rd time. But the story in GT1 this weekend has been the sensational qualifying run by Terry Borcheller in the number 63 Asimco Saleen. They qualified on the pole at Mosport as well. Tremendous run on the racetrack, and standing here with Terry Borcheller right now. Terry, you guys seem to have been so strong as of late. Can you put your finger on why this team has really come on at the end of the season?
Well, we've been strong, I think, since Sears Point as far as the car goes, but it's just putting all the pieces together that's been tough. And at Mosport, we did a good job, but just weren't able to finish it. And here we got a long race to go, 4 hours, and the Corvette team, the Aston Martin guys, they're great teams and good cars, so it's going to be tough.
Well, they may be out of the championship hunt, but to end this season with a victory, that would be tremendous for the boys at Asimco.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. And when you're in sunny Southern California, it is always a party. And that is about what's to unfold here. Not only a great race, but a great event at this fabulous racetrack. And when we come back, we're going to give you a little bit more in-depth look at this great track. And we are going to get this fabulous season finale underway. So stay tuned, please. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the oil that's changing oil. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Mazda, there's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. Welcome back to Laguna Seca, everybody. And just moments ago, this spectacular moment, the Pirelli flyover, a couple of F-18s came by on the deck. It was very spectacular. We hope simply a precursor to the kind of action that we are going to have as this race gets underway here in Monterey. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, and for this final race of the season, joined once again, of course, by Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, one thing about Laguna Seca, because of its location and the surrounding terrain, ever-changing the conditions are here. We've seen that through practice. We certainly have seen it in qualifying. We had some racing earlier today. It's been very interesting, which leads us to our Porsche keys, and the first of which is track condition.
Well, Mazda Raceway recently held a MotoGP. They were required to shave the height of the curbing on the infield. Now, the sports car guys have been going across the curbing into the gravel and bringing not only dirt but gravel on the racetrack. It's made a slippery surface, also creating a lot of punctures. Now, they've been told, don't do it. We shall see.
Then, of course, weather.
And weather around here, it rained last night, and when it did, everything got really cool. It's windy today, it's cold, and with the way the direction the wind is blowing, we've been having fog come in at nightfall off of Monterey Bay. We'll race into the night tonight.
And the temperature drops drastically at that point. Finally, fuel strategy. We've got a different length to this race again.
Well, most of these races 2 3/4 hours long. This will be a 4-hour event. So that being said, what fuel mileage you can possibly get out of your car, and playing these cautions right could win you the race.
Well, now, Dorsey, we've talked about it. Take us on an in-depth look at this great track.
Let's take a really cool look at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. 2.23-mile road course, 11 corners, in the tightest area right here in the turn 2 area. You come off the front straightaway, Down the hill you run into a braking zone that's very long. Now, as you approach turn 2, it gets very congested. We'll see a lot of car-to-car contact right here today. Now, you run up through a short straightaway into turn 3, another good passing area. These are all flat corners, sand and gravel on both sides of the racetrack. But you can't come to Laguna Seca without going through the corkscrew, not at least one time. You come up this hill, hard braking, you can't see anything, and then you drop off the face of the earth right here. Through the corkscrew you go, under the bridge to turn 9 and 10, to very, very fast, scary turns.
That one right there, the Rainy Curve, named after the famous motorcycle racer, and just an unbelievable track that we have here without doubt, and a beautiful day at this point certainly for this race to unfold. We're going to show you the qualifying order across the top of the screen right now, and certainly in the divisions. We want to take a look now at our Michelin tire field summary, and 16 cars running Michelins here. Pirelli has 4, 3 in Yokohamas, and you can see the rest. The interesting story with Yokohama, they picked up the 2 J3 racing cars. They had some problems on the Pirellis at Road Atlanta in previous races. They decided to make that switch today.
You know, tire strategy is well contained. This is very cold today compared to when they've been practicing. It's going to be cold tonight for sure. As soon as that fog comes in and we lose the sunlight, it's going to be really chilly.
And most of the drivers say when it's windy here, when that kind of stuff happens and the dust that blows up on the track, things can change literally lap to lap, even corner to corner.
They haven't run at night here before. There's no lights like there are at some racetrack. It's going to be very, very dark, and you won't be able to see that gravel and so forth to try to avoid it.
Starting to group up now. You can see lights out on the pace car, so we are heading down. Pace car will make the move into the pit lane. Field should start to queue up here, if you will, and we are going to be ready for the start of the season finale for the 2005 America Le Mans season. And this one should be spectacular. Mindful of what happened at Road Atlanta. Andretti hairpin turn 2 looming as these cars come out, starting to bunch up. Chilton bringing them to the line in the Zytek, looking for the green flag. 4 hours of racing underway. It's clean, and interestingly, Dorsey, both Lato and Weaver at Road Atlanta at the Petit said that the Zytek car slowed up a little more than they expected. Looked like he was cautious here again, and that allowed, obviously, the 16 lights to move around into the lead.
And the boys in the Zytek, the only car in the field that hasn't run in this crowd a lot, as we ride on board with Frank Vila in the alley. This is climbing up now to turn 6. A little bit of a break, not much, almost just a lift. You flick it into the corner. We'll see trouble here before the days are always straight now. Here it is now, right in front of us, one of the Dysons. Chris, I believe.
That's the 20. Chris Dyson, absolutely right, just running wide.
He was a lucky boy to save that one. On the outside there, you know, to catch the firewall.
And a lot of gravel right to the edge of the track. You drop a tire, it literally sucks you right into these traps in a heartbeat.
It does indeed. We'll take another look at that as Chris comes through. Just a little too much speed. Like I say, you don't slow up much. You flick it on in there, but he flicked it a little too much. It got trapped to the outside. Look at that, the tire wall right here. Normally gets you. He was lucky.
Boy, he was lucky.
Look at that. It's pulling on him. He's trying to get in there. Good save, Chris.
Got it back onto the tarmac just in time. Lost some spots, obviously. He's back to 5th at this stage, but up front, Leitzinger leads it. Chilton right there in the Zytek 2nd. Frank Biela, Marco Werner taking advantage of Dyson's problems. And kind of an unusual story there. Werner, normally a brutally fast qualifier, only able to qualify 6th, complaining of bad push. Understeer all weekend so far.
Had a really dirty racetrack. Almost every session for these guys has been very, very dirty because of the dropping wheels and tires off, like I said before. So that car didn't like that, obviously.
Now, right behind Dyson there is the orange and yellow DHO Global Delivery Porsche RS Spyder on the pole in the LMP2 class, leading right now. The interesting story, as we heard from the gentleman in the pits at the start of the show, Field had the problem, ended up 2nd to last at the end of qualifying. They elected to change tires and started. They only gave it 1 spot. That's a smart move, I think. Haven't seen the battle of that Lola versus this Porsche.
You know, we only saw practice sessions where Field's car was top of 1, and then the Porsche bettered him the next time. Then qualifying, of course, it all went wrong for Field. And this man, Sasha Maassen, puts it on the pole soundly. But now, you know, if we get a caution, we get these 2 cars running around, like you say, it's going to be a darn good race. And I'll tell you, talk all through the paddock is this. Is the Porsche showing us anything yet? Or are they just running the speed they want to run? I mean, everybody's frightened of this car.
Guys, I just checked in with Rob Dyson on Chris Dyson to ask if the car was okay. He looked at me and he goes, yeah, it's fine. He just screwed up. That's the way I would call it. But one of the things that Chris talked about in setting the car up around here, you guys alluding to the slick track and the gravel. Chris said, you've got to get the car to turn in. You guys were just talking about the Audi with a push. Chris Dyson says, you've got to get the car to turn in here. Once you turn in a little bit late, if you can get the car pointed, you're good at corner exit. Corner entry is going to be a problem here all day long.
In my experience driving here, Brian, you're absolutely right. These corners, for some reason, really are kind of an understeer entry corner. The car does not want to turn. If you can overcome that problem, get it to turn in crisp, then you can kick to the throttle quicker to come off the corner.
It almost seems like a lot of the corners here are relatively flat or even marginally off camber going in, then pick up banking a little bit about mid-apex thereabouts. Is that part of it?
And the surface here also is just so good. When you look at our lead GT1 there, Terry Borsche, our pole setter, getting hounded already. We expect this to be a good battle all night.
It's a number 3 of Fellows right behind him. For the first time in a while, that number 3 Corvette out-qualified the team car. Number 4, Johnny O'Connell doing a nice job. Fellows getting a nod to start, and obviously running very close to Borchler. And keep in mind, this Celine, the Asemco Celine, led almost 2/3 of the race in Mosport, and then at the end, it kind of went away. And even though they didn't finish that well at Petit because of a number of problems in pit stops, if you look at a number of the stints, stint times that were run when they didn't have a problem, they were actually quicker than any other GT1 car on occasion. So they're playing.
And as you alluded to earlier on, the 3 and 4 Corvette team with a rivalry going on now. There's a champion. There's right now is John Field, who had to start in the back. He's right behind these two, not for long either, I guarantee you that. John making his way from the back, headed toward the front, trying to find that Porsche. He wants it.
Well, John Field is certainly having a spectacular run. We talked about the engine that went south after the throttle stuck wide open in qualifying. He is pretty happy with the motor they're putting in. It wasn't a fresh one, but the big turnaround this weekend is the tyre that Goodyear have brought here is a new compound, a lot softer. The team said in the night practice on Thursday it was 2 seconds faster than the tyre they've been running. So they really expected him to be able to challenge that Porsche for the class pole. And John said, if I get a caution, look out, I'm going to go after that Porsche today.
Well, there's no doubt when John Field is on, he is extremely fast. And to have that problem in qualifying where he can really no speed, that's doubly frustrating.
Got the game face on. I was looking for the Porsche the first day I got here. I saw John first. He said, hey, where's that new Porsche at? He goes, who cares?
That's right. All right, the gloves are off. Did you see the last lap going up into turn 6 when Field got by the vet coming up on the Celine? Borchler faded left a little bit so he wouldn't mess his exit up coming out of 6 and give the vet a run. Borchler, pretty savvy move right there. Here we are in our GT2 category right now, and the guy who was a little frustrated in qualifying, Mike Rockenfeller, didn't waste much time getting around the guy who frustrated him and moved into the lead in that right there, that black and red Porsche.
And remember, he showed him the fender. He said, look, you messed me up. I will get you for that. So I think these guys right now, I wouldn't mess with Mike right at the beginning of this.
A little feisty, you're thinking?
Yeah, I think he wants to prove a point.
There's number 23, Romain Dumas, of course, the pole sitter, and put an absolutely stunning lap in. Everybody was just chatting about the speed that he showed. It was his 3rd pole of the season, 7th for the team, as Brian talked about at the top of the show, doing a spectacular job. And there is the car that's leading in the championship.
Well, we talked at the front end of the show about Mike Rockenfeller being pretty upset about Romain Dumas potentially blocking him during his qualifying run. But instead of things actually settling down over the last 24 hours, they've actually gotten worse. I spoke to Romain this morning. He said, I can't believe what Mike is saying. He said, I went and apologized to him. I didn't try and get in his way. My speed through the corkscrew was what I normally do through there, and Mike believes I blocked him. So he said he's actually been to some of the Porsche folks and complained to them that I screwed up his best qualifying run. So he said, I don't understand why this is getting out of hand. He said, I was innocent enough. There's certainly a lot on stake here today. Those Porsche boys are certainly looking ahead to next year, but there's going to be 2 of those prototypes, and I know both of those boys like to have their butt in the seat.
Well, it says it right on the dash, Calvin. Don't hit.
Yeah, every reminder possible right here. Now we go to GT1. There is the number 3 Betta Fellows, who has gotten by Borchler, was able to get by, and boy, didn't waste much time, Dorsey. Once he cleared Borchler, he opened it up to go back and show you that pass, and he got a great run, apparently.
He obviously did, because he's got a big lead. Wow, something wrong with Terry. Terry going around the outside. He dropped a wheel off at the top, apparently, had to gather the car up, had to check up. That gave Ron all he needed. Goes on the outside.
Yeah, right when you picked that replay up, there was a little puff of dust and that you wouldn't expect at that point. So obviously Borchiller is a little wide.
We just got word down here, Greg, the Celine has lost its power steering. Carl Shearer, their PR rep, just came down, showed me the note. So obviously Terry's going to have to adjust. But he said at Road Atlanta, when it happened to them there, they lost the pump belt there, that he said he could only hang on for about 12 laps. They had to come in and pit. He said it's just torturous trying to manhandle that car with no power steering.
It would be really, really hard to turn 6 in those high road corners, no question.
Well, their day just certainly got a lot longer, and obviously looking forward to a stop, see if they can fix it. Here are your 4 division leaders. Welcome back to Laguna Seca, and we have a great battle unfolding at the front in the LMP1 division, and they are in traffic to boot. Very interesting. On board here with Bila, and he's trying to get inside Chilton at the exit of turn 11 onto the front straight. Chilton trapped by the Viper momentarily, but able to just squeeze through that little gap. I think Bila said, I better let him go.
And Tom Chilton has not raced against these guys on a day-to-day basis. Like I said before, they just came over, and he doesn't know what to expect out of a guy like Bila, so they give each other a little bit more room than maybe they want to. But there's traffic, lapping traffic already. That's amazing, you know. We're only looking at lap 8, and they're going through the back of the field already.
As you talk about Tom Chilton and the job he's doing right now, I checked in with Trevor Foster, who's the team manager there with that Zytec entry, and he said there was no way we were going to have a repeat of the start from Petit Le Mans. We talked about it in the beginning. We said, if no one else will be smart, we will. I think that's exactly what we've seen, because we know how fast the Zytec is. We've seen it all weekend long.
Well, Brian, it was pretty obvious when they got to the Andretti hairpin on that green flag that Chilton was being very cautious going in there. Obviously, exactly what you're saying. They were playing it very cautious.
And how many times do I have to say this? You can't win it to the end. You cannot win it at the first turn. We saw that last time out, and it certainly ruined these guys' day. Much smarter approach.
Seriously squeezed.
One of the Panoses in traffic didn't know he was underneath. And that's as easy as you can be taken around right now.
Try and get a look here from this shot as Chilton comes by, assuming he does. See if there's any kind of a, no, looks okay.
Rearview mirror shot. I like it.
Yeah.
Look at that. On the inside, Frank Biela moving around. The closing difference is huge on the racetrack here.
Remember Butch Leitzinger's stunning drive at Mosport after Weaver had the off to come back. Leitzinger in traffic all day, and that car not a mark on it. So it's getting through traffic is huge. Meanwhile, looking kind of lonely at this stage is the number 3 Corvette, Ron Fellows, the copy wearing. He's on a piece of track pretty much all by himself at this time as he heads underneath the start stand and heading down toward the Andretti hairpin.
Really surprised at the differentiation in speed between the 2 Corvettes. I mean, look at that. There goes Ron, and there comes the second. We're only in 9 laps, and these 2 cars were real close on time.
It's a pretty substantial margin, and the number 4 Corvette got hooked up behind apparently the Aston Martin for just a bit and was able to clear that car, the number 58 entry.
And Terry Borscheller again in the 63, if he has no power steering, will start to falter soon. I mean, his arms are going to give up on a track like this. Take a look here. The 4 get in the out-braking maneuver down into turn 2 cleanly. Aston Martin lets it happen. No contest. No need to, rough them up right now.
So able to get by the 58 as well and pick up 3rd in class in the GT1 division at this point. There is the Celine, there goes the Vette, and there are the 2 Aston Martins. That is the car of David Crabb.
Right here, Terry Borscheller going down this hill. There's such load, artificial load put on the car because you're getting pressed down into this banked corner right here, this turn 9 and 10, and that's what's really bad when you have no power steering.
Back to GT2 and the action unfolding there, and there is the number 43 of Rockefeller, who continues to lead the class, and right behind him, essentially split by the LMP2 car, is the number 23 of Dumas. Rockefeller working traffic, and that's an important place to get through clean. Now the P2 car of Devlin is going to go rocketing on by, and that's exactly what you want, but being sort of unimpeded at that point.
It's a bit of a nuisance, though, because Devlin's car is quicker in the straight line, but he's slowing these Porsches up in the corner. The GT2 cars are really trying to get around it.
We look So Mike Rockenfeller in the number 43 car, a lot of it is to do with the Yokohama tires. Now, when we look at their performance over the course of a season, it's really been a bit of a roller coaster ride. Some circuits they suit, others they don't. But here at Laguna Seca, very low grip racetrack, very similar to what we see at Le Mans. For some reason, it just seems to suit the Yokos. Michelin tires typically dominate, but right now, the Yokohamas are doing a great job. And talking to the team, they said they're pretty good on these long stints too. So it's not just a good start here for Mike Rockenfeller. They expect those tires to hold on in terms of performance, Greg.
Oh, we've got the 71 Car Sport Viper, the ESN Viper has, or ESP Viper, excuse me, has gone off and gone off pretty big. That's exit at 10, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's probably going to get a full course caution because I bet he's stuck in. It might actually be a really good situation here for the number 3 car. I just heard a warning. The Corvettes have a low pressure system in their tires, where if a tire has a cut and it starts losing pressure, it signals the pits. They have that signal on the number 3 car. They got a warning. It thinks they maybe have a puncture, and this caution could really help them.
And we are now officially in a full course caution. So the fuel will be brought in under the control of the pace car, and as you said, that'd be huge for the number 3 vet.
Yeah, I mean, these pressure sensors, they signal when they drop below a certain pressure, and that signal has gone off on the right front tire of the car. We'll have to see.
Now we're 12 laps in. We're 15, make it 16 minutes into a 4-hour race. If you don't have a problem at this point, do you maybe duck into pits, top up, and try and stretch your windows?
You're certainly not in a fuel window yet, but if you have big problems to deal with, as maybe the 3 car does, then you certainly do take care of it now.
Obviously, Tom Weigert not going anywhere at this point without some help, so apparently going to be getting an assist. Meanwhile, Calvin, more information on what's unfolding with Fellows?
Well, just checked in with Doug Feehan to talk about that potential puncture. He said, no, we did get a false reading on the telemetry, which would indicate we had some kind of tire pressure issue, but they've sorted that out. So even with all the telemetry and the gizmos these days, it's not always for sure. So right now they think Ron's in good shape.
Gee, an electronic clip. Well, Doug Feehan certainly a big concern at this point, watching what's unfolding, keeping an eye on things, and there's the Ascentco pit sitting in a close second here, your class leader. Wednesday night on Speed, check out Backseat Drivers. Shannon Spake and Marty Smith race through the hottest topics and rumors on and off the track. Rapid fire, no holds barred, and no topic is off limits. Backseat Drivers, Wednesday night at 7, only on Speed. Another big development this weekend is the Klein Tools Pit Stop Challenge Finals. Now, they had a number of preliminaries. This was action yesterday. They had 4 cars, and they had to set it up to narrow it down to the 2 finalists. Look at the pressure. Got Oliver Gavin, number 4 vet, had it in reverse. Just a little bit of a choke, but it cost him big.
Cost him the whole deal, it did, because he started out in the front. He was pretty embarrassed.
The number 24 Alex Job racing car had a great run, made it into the final round, as well as one of the finalists. The other, the number 3 Corvette, and boy, were they pumped, cruise and all.
But it's not firing up clean. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we should change the map. That's where.
Yeah, that's right. He should be there first. Now we're in the finals. Okay. For all the marbles.
$100,000 on the line, and when they drop the green, watch the performance. The 2 teams, top of their game, and the Corvette has been known. Look at Le Mans, how they did their pit stops, the execution, but they had to go up against Alex Job Racing, Ron Fellows, and Johnny O'Connell in the driver change. Look at the speed, the execution. This crew is amazing, and in the end, watch this, it's close, but there goes the vet. Right before the Alex Job car pulled out, 48.1 seconds to do the driver change, fuel stop, and 4 tire change.
And Danny Binks, $100,000. They go to the shop. They're going to build a gym for these guys to work out.
And a Coney Island machine.
And they get a Coney Island machine too.
They have a reason to work out. Great performance by the Corvette crew, number 3. Dan Binks in charge. What a day. That was a great opportunity to really showcase the team, and there's so much about the team that's important, especially in endurance racing. Meanwhile, there's a number 63 in the hands of Terry Borscheler. He had just made a stop on the last lap. He is coming back in once again as they are trying to solve that problem with the power steering. Brian?
Guys, he came in under the yellow. It was the perfect opportunity for these guys because Dorsey, as you said, no power steering around. Look Laguna Seca is absolutely brutal. And Giangrande had said, if it doesn't go yellow, we'll leave him out until he can't stand it anymore. They came in, the belt is broken, but they have another belt that's attached inside.
Can you confirm that you are okay physically? Okay.
You hear him talking on the radio, ask him if he's okay physically. The problem is the pump and the belt are at the front of the engine, so the guys are in there sitting on top of the engine, trying to make sure that they can get to that belt. When they did it at Laguna, or at Road Atlanta, they had to use mirrors to get it on with, so it's wedged in there. It's going to be a lengthy fix, but under a full course caution, it's the best time that it could happen.
Well, it makes it really difficult, that engine sitting in there at the back of the car.
Put the car in gear, so it'll help us through. Put the car in gear. You okay? Thank you.
Belts at the front. These guys can't actually physically see. They got to do the feeling with their hands.
Well, I tell you what, we just saw that climb pit stop competition deal, and this is where this plays out. The team, in endurance racing in particular, when you have a problem and you've got to fix it and get back out there and go, it is truly a team sport. It is huge what these crews do, not just during the race at the track, but at night when you're fixing damage and the like. They're the unsung heroes.
They are the heroes, no question.
Ryan, you talk about heroes. These guys just got that power steering belt back on. They're going to try to get Terry Borcheller out. He may not lose a lap, and that would be unbelievable.
Wow, that was great. We talked about the pit work and the fuel strategy and all the stuff that goes on in the pits. Well, these guys stayed on the same lap. Now Terry will go like crazy and try to catch the end of that field as it's coming around to take the green this time.
Now, the one thing in neither of
While
the
you're
stops,
hustling, you're going to have to take care of your rear tires, buddy.
the one thing I didn't notice in either of the stops, and maybe Brian can update us, I didn't see fuel.
The first time they would have fueled it and looked to see what the problem was.
Okay.
And the second time they would have fixed the problem.
Yeah, Dorsey, you're exactly right. The first time they came in, they took the opportunity to top him up, and then when they came back in the next time, they just did the belt.
Gotcha.
All right, well, there's that. Now that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because it opens up their next windows just a little bit. Meanwhile, we are back to green, and in front of the field, Leitzinger, Chilton, Vila, Werner, and Dyson. And then it's Sasha Maassen once again leading in the LMP2 division and sitting 6th overall.
All the lead cars having trouble finding traction on the restart. All of them jump sideways, so slippery racetrack.
And a team that we really didn't mention that really, I'm sure, appreciated that yellow was the 37 of John Field in that Intersport Lola.
He said it himself. He I need a yellow, then look out. And I agree. He needs a little bit of help to come from the back and get up to where the Porsche is.
Matter of fact, there he is, right behind one of the vets at this stage. So he's making his way up through the pack in a hurry. He's cleared the vet.
Well, he's a quick car. We know he's one of the fastest cars. It's just a nuisance to have to start all the way at the back like that. And you got to have enough car left by the time you get to the front to do something.
Meanwhile, there's the number 12 of Mike Lewis and Brian Wilmot. Let's check in again with Brian Tell.
Guys, about the same time the 63 had the problem. Remember, it was the 71 that brought off the full course caution. This is what came out of the car. This is the gravel that's out there on the racetrack. How much of it came out? Check it out all along pit wall. This is the stuff that's getting left on the track.
And we talked about the punctures as part of our Porsche keys to the race. The track condition. Well, it started out pretty good. They told the boys, don't drop the tires off in the gravel or you're going to have a track that you can't deal with later. And we starting to see it already.
And this dusty track shows itself in the braking zones as well. We just saw Marco Werner on that high cam shot. You saw that big puff of smoke as he locked up heading into the Andretti hairpin. That takes a toll on tires.
Yeah, and then we're going to look at punctures too. We're going to see tires starting to deflate from all this stones out here.
16 Leitzinger leads it. Chilton in the Lego Star Wars Zytek right there sitting in second spot. And that's the number 51, Panos. We're getting a report they pitted when the pits are closed, so they get a penalty. That's the penalty box, Dorsey.
Yeah, he's going to hold him there, and that's a shame for those guys.
And they've already dropped to 9th in class at this stage, so just sitting there and waiting. And usually these are long penalties when you pit when the pits are closed.
Yeah. And they're going to lap down because there's the leaders now coming around the last corner onto the pit straight. You see it up there, sitting right here.
So down the lap they go at this stage. Leitzinger leads down into the Andretti hairpin, and you can see the gap now. Wow. Officially 2 minutes, 20 seconds of penalty.
That's huge.
Well, when you're seeing your teammates lapping at 1:30, that's basically 2 laps.
Yeah, you're almost 2 laps right now. So come in and serve your penalty and get back up to speed. It's going to be 2 laps.
And once again, the pace being set in race trim right now by that number 6 Porsche is pretty spectacular. Running 119s, it just turned a 118.9. So some spectacular speed. And meanwhile, the battle for second in GT2 was a good one. The 23 of Dumas and the 50 of Robin Liddell. Remember that Pano getting a win at Road Atlanta in April has gone sort of quiet since then, but they've been very quick here. Ended up 4th in qualifying, but still very fast. And right now, they're sort of in a split as some of the GT1 cars are working through. But Robin Liddell, very, very quick in this car. He's really hounding Dumas here.
He has been really good in several of the different practice sessions over the weekend. Has been near the top, if not at the top of the chart. So he's quick, and there's a spin by the Manchester car. That will bring out a caution. This will certainly be stuck. High-centered, I'm sure.
That's DFC Systems Lola, one of the older B2K 40s. And that's turn 6, and that's one of those commitment corners you were talking about. A lot of load in it. You've got to turn in at high speed, and if you get it wrong, well, it's where Dyson ran wide earlier.
Now, again, look at the car. It's not that far off the course. It won't be able to go anywhere. The tow truck will get it, and it's going to scoop up just tons of gravel, put it right on the racetrack, and everybody's going to have to deal with it.
Still running, I don't know, or at least he was able to get it restarted once he was able to drive it back on. Going finally, the 51 is released back on the track. But now, turning into a long evening at this stage, and we are under another full course caution. Apparently, Ben Devlin actually behind the wheel of the car at this stage, not able to get that car out of the gravel over there at the exit of turn 6. So another full course caution here at Mazda Raceway. I tell you what, you get off on there. I mean, he's basically high centered on the gravel, I think.
Yeah, he is. There's no getting out of there. You just got to wait for the tow truck.
So Devlin just sitting there and looking for some help as we are under a full course caution. Once again, here are the leaders in the 4 different classes. Leitzinger leading overall. And a look back at some of the early moments here, that great flyover and notes being taken. People paying serious attention and in their game. Some great onboards to boot. Welcome back to Laguna Seca, everybody, as we are under a full course caution. And we're going to take a moment here while we have this caution. Mike Peterson of the Peterson White Lightning team recently invited a camera crew into his home in Laguna Beach, California.
Hey there, sports car fans. Come on in to the Peterson humble abode. Something else that is also a pastime of mine is my fine cigar selection here. As you can tell, we've got the Romeo Giulietta, the Monte Cristo Habana, and my favorite, the Cohiba. I don't know if I'm allowed to really open this up and show these because technically these aren't supposed to be in the United States, but here's a quick look for you. Oh, that's all you get, sorry. One of my favorite things about the master bedroom is this really cool TV piece. Let's go check out my son's room. It's here on your left. And he's got some pretty cool things in here. He's got some trophies we were fortunate enough to pick up along the past couple years of racing. And he's got some very unique pictures that hang on his wall. Well, welcome to the beach. Got one race left. We're just gonna roll the dice, see what happens in the race, and hopefully everything works out for the best. It's been a fantastic year, and I look forward to closing on a high note. So with that in mind, thanks for coming to my little island of paradise here, and see you guys soon. Thanks, bye.
Island of Paradise indeed. Nice car collection.
Well, here's the deal. He wants to roll the dice, but he owns the dice.
Yeah, so the dice paying off nicely. We are back to green here in Laguna Seca. Pace car you see in there and down in. And now, of course, with that stop, we've had some pit stops. You see that Chilton in the Zytek now finds himself in the lead. Butch Leitzinger pitted, and that changed it up. So Chilton is now out front. We had some other stops as well. Oh, look at this battle right here.
How fast Chilton chooses to go. Now he has the lead. See what kind of lap times he might run. The GT2 battle, we realize, is pretty good still.
That's 1, 2, 3 right there. They've got the number 4 Corvette right behind them. So it's still Rockefeller and that red and black BAM Porsche out front. Then the Alex Job entry and Liddell right behind.
Oh, and kind of a defensive move there. And the Job car, Robin Liddell and that Panos once around, and the Corvette say, good move there. Don't let him go now.
Yeah, the Corvette, had to back. Yeah, it's a good move. Again, we've seen that a couple of times there. Don't mess up my battle. But look what it did. It blunted the vet, and here comes the Aston Martin.
Good
who was going to take a move there. So one benefited, the other one got badly hurt in the 57 right now. Oh, he's going to turn her. They touched.
Liddell bumped a little bit. Liddell did the right thing. It's his racetrack. He got to the corner first, and he says, I'm racing this guy. You deal with your own problem.
On board with the 57, and they are looking. This is their view, really, of this battle right in front. And here he's going to come up, or is he?
No,
he decided to check up.
Wisely.
Yeah.
The Porsches are quick in the corner. They're not as fast in the straight line, but they're plenty quick in the corner. No need to mess it up. Now watch. Aston Martin power. That's where you pass. Do it straight away.
V12 coming along here and making the move. Now he's going to get trapped here. He's not going to get by, so that's going to be nice for Dumas at this stage. He's going to be in the mix, and then we've got a prototype in there as well.
And he's trapped in there. That's another problem.
Leitzinger knifing through underneath. Remember, made the stop. It was the total, so trying to come up to the pad. Loose on the exit there.
Sure was. This is a good passing zone right here. Good straightaway. Set the Porsche up. Go around the outside. That's clean and easy to do.
Right there, the first one in the frame is the 51 of Marino Franchitti, that because of that penalty is quite a few laps down, and just trying to, stay with it and see if they can't work a yellow and get a lap back here or there and see if they get back in it. Now we hop on board with, this is Frank Biela, another one of the cars that pitted, so back in this queue and trying to work up through trap behind this battle once again.
That's why they're behind the battle. They've gone in there, got some fuel, some tires. Now, of course, they're much quicker. They're weeding their way through a pretty good heavy battle going on in mid-race.
You got to be careful here because these guys are battling in their own position. They're just not going to give it up and let you go through. If you try and force the issue, you might get somebody coming right across you.
Yeah, the racing position is exactly right. You got 4 different classes all there together racing for position. And we have a problem. 50 Panos is spun. And that doesn't necessarily look like tire smoke. That's engine smoke. That's lost an engine, I think. More like an oil. Maybe not. There was a lot of
awful lot of smoke. Remember, that was third in GT2, right in that battle and hounding.
Could have got a little help.
Yeah.
Got a little help there. I'm not sure. Maybe it is tire smoke.
Well, he certainly is squirrely afterwards. Check it out here.
No.
Wow.
Maybe he did get help by the Aston Martin. I'm not sure.
Yep. Watch it right here.
I'm sure.
Pretty positive at that stage.
Yeah.
And then he just lit him up.
Now we have to see if there's a penalty against the Aston Martin. It certainly wasn't once.
Maserati.
Maserati. Yeah, I mean, he just laid into the side of it. Hard to deny when you got the arms.
Yeah, exactly. Liddell now just has to put his head down. One of the reasons, these cars have really been pretty quick and effective at this stage. And now here comes the Maserati. We're going to hop on board, trying to get underneath the 51. A little bit better, more decisive move at this stage. But I was going to ask about the Panos. One of the reasons maybe they're certainly looking strong here is you're climbing so much there. That V8, the torque of that car.
The V8 should do good here for sure. I mean, but the traction problem here is always an issue. I mean, the infield has just got no grip whatsoever. And it's getting much colder out. Is that fog I talked to you about coming off the bay? It's just about on top of us now.
Sasha Dawson picking up again, just working through the field. That car also pitted. The Porsche from the LMP2 lead pitted, and we already saw the fact that the 37 of John Field pitted and turned over to Liz Halliday. So the two quicker cars, if you will, in LMP2 have pitted in it. So we have to wait for things to cycle just a little bit.
And those two teams are definitely playing out a strategy by putting Liz Halliday in. Obviously, the 37 is doing a number to get Field back in toward the end. and to get some more fuel mileage, bigger opportunity for a fuel window, and same with the Porsche with the fuel situation.
Look at the Maserati as it works through turn 6 and coming up. And here is Tom Chilton, and now free and clear of the pack, has opened up about a 2-second margin over Marco Werner. Right there, sits in the second spot, so there's your margin. And we had seen times in the 118s pretty much, a couple of 117s, and they really haven't gone any quicker than that.
Greg, I checked in with Trevor Foster back with Chilton before this last caution when he was running second. I said, are you just biding your time? Are you running a pace? He said, yes, we're very content at this point in time to run a pace. We're not in a hurry to get into the lead. Looks like that full course caution handed it to them. We'll see what they can do with it and whether they'll leave the pack. Although Randall Kelsey down at Dyson said, I don't think that Zytek is going to be as fast on full tank. So with still a lot of unknowns down here about that car. The one thing that is known is qualifying very fast. 3 races, 3 poles.
All right, thanks, Brian. Yeah, the car, the speed is unquestioned. It just both of the races previously, at some point, it ended up in a bit of a problem, and that was a bad thing. So here are the leaders in our 4 divisions right now. Chilton taking charge overall. We'd like to remind you to log on to AmericanLeMans.com. Tuesday of this week at San Francisco's famous Chrissy Field, the American Le Mans Series, in conjunction with the Salvation Army, launched a national program to support youth called Grid Kids. A number of American Le Mans Series drivers, their race cars, and a number of the Grid Kids showed up. The drivers really spent some time with the youth, provided autographs, talked about their race programs, and kids really seemed to eat it up. It's a great time. And one element of this new Grid Kids program involves having those youth from Salvation Army centers become VIP guests at the American Le Mans Series at each track where it races. One of those responsibilities is actually on the grid holding the flags representing each of the entrants' nationality, and of course raising some valuable money as well. And maybe the biggest thing is big smiles, lots of smiles for those young kids. So a very special program indeed. We are back now to some live racing action, and here's a look at our overall leader, Tom Chilton in the Zytek, working through some traffic. And moments ago, it made this look like a lonely drive in the country. This was some fierce stuff. That is number 79, Tim Sugden, and battling at that point for 4th in class, going up against Johannes van Overbeek. And Johannes van Overbeek 1, 2, 3 times just slammed the door, Dorsey. Finally ran wide.
Loose off the corner. Sugden gets up the inside, brings 24 with him, but that's not over because they get up on top of the hill. Look right behind them as you've got Tom Chilton, overall leader, and Marco Werner. Now they're going to mix it up with these boys. All 4 of those cars for position. Now you got the P1 cars right smack in the middle. As you see Chilton gets by 1. And here comes Marco.
Liddell almost ran wide there, but was able to hang on to it, which bottled up Chilton.
And Werner right behind Chilton, now trying to capitalize on being held up.
Now come out of this corner. Watch this now. Watch now as Werner moves left. Thinks he's clear. Look what happens right here. Squeezed. About as close as it gets. Was just able to sneak through. So that was what the leaders and the GT2 guys running in 3rd, 4th, 5th were dealing with. And now we're going back and looking at GT1 at this stage. And there's the number 4. That's the Corvette right now.
And the 2 Aston Martins. Look, that's 2nd place battle on the racetrack. All these guys are really giving it a go here.
Yeah, Beretta, Cox, and Turner.
Right on Bird Turner now looking out. Real quick, watch how he flick into this corner here. Full throttle up the hill catch. Go up toward the corkscrew. Totally blind. Just looking up at the clouds right now in the fog.
Well, looking at the performance of Olivier Beretta today, it's certainly going to be a tough race for him. Remember, they just need to get to 70% in this race to win the Drivers' Championship. Now, we've picked the battle with the Aston. Meanwhile, the 3-car, Ron Fellows, is storming away at the front of the pack. So if the 3-car wins, the 4-car has any issues whatsoever, the championship still could go the way of Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell. The other thing up the street of the Corvette team is that Michelin have come here with a new tyre setup. They've got a super soft tyre, which is 1 stage softer than they normally have. And they didn't run it in qualifying. I just spoke to Donnie Wilson, the Michelin tyre engineer, and he said we have 3 sets per car to run, and that's going on at this next stint. I said, what is it worth? He said, the best part of a second, so more speed in the Corvettes yet.
Well, when it gets real cold here a little bit later on, that super soft tire is going to be the package. And you just saw a great move. Looked like Turner just got in a little hot into the Andretti hairpin, and Peter Cox slipped underneath and picked up the position. And by the way, Olivier Beretta had also made a pass of Turner a little bit earlier and had picked up a spot as well. So this battle of GT1 is swapping back and forth.
You know, a lot of people were surprised by the Aston Martins that they only qualified 4th and 5th in the GT1 class. But when I checked in with the team, they said, you know, we were almost afraid to come here. One of the things that this Aston Martin has suffered from is a lack of mechanical grip, especially in the back end. And with this low grip surface here at Laguna, it's been a real struggle for these guys to get the power down, especially through turns 3 and 4. You talk about super soft tires going on the vets, not going to be good news for the boys in green.
Well, amazing racing all over the racetrack. We now go back to GT2 and check out this battle. Rockenfeller and Dumas swapping it back and forth. Rockenfeller had it last time by start finish. Guess what? Dumas, the number 23, is back in front. So it's been going like this, and of course you've got the overall leaders working in. And Brian, I've got to tell you, as you were explaining at least, you mentioned the lack of grip for the Aston Martins in the back. While you were talking, we saw 2 instances of the number 57 car, the back end stepping out noticeably going into the turn. So they certainly have not solved that problem. Maybe in for a very long day here. Now let's go back, Dorsey, and take a look at how Dumas was able to sneak by Rockenfeller.
Just a typical really gutsy type of move, you know, just gets down on the inside and the exit of this corner. Both these cars let it happen instead of crashing.
Which is kind of surprising. Not a love lost between these guys.
Well, we've seen a lot of guys that didn't give room right there, and then they slam door to door, end up spinning out as a result.
So Dumas there, and then Rockenfeller, you know, he may have made the pass, but he certainly has not let him go as they work through the straight infield section here.
Long way to go in the race. No need to throw it away right now. And these guys are great racers. They know the limitations of what they can do with the car and what the car has under it.
You know, one of the things I've noticed here, he's talking at the top of the show with the MotoGP, and they had to shave down the curbing. It's allowed these cars, though, to use the entrance curb a lot more, doesn't it? They swing out wide and come in, and a lot of smoke from the back. The number 24, Alex Joe Racing entry.
It's like the left bank or left tire area, a lot of smoke.
That's Darren Law right now behind the wheel of that, but
they definitely had a problem on the left side. Fire, it's oil. It's definitely oil, and it's puking good on the right now. Watch it as it goes up the hill. It's oiling the racetrack down a lot. Everybody behind it's going to be in a mess.
Smoke coming up the back of the car. That's it now.
Yeah, it's smoke.
See it out my mirror. Coming in, driver's aid.
We've seen spits of flame as well.
Now, the danger is when you slow up. Right now, he's going really quick. When he slows up to fit in, that's where you have to worry about the thing igniting off of not enough air to keep it cool.
So he's made the pit lane at any rate. Is that left-hander now down the speed limit in the pits quite slow. Here
The 24 car was in. They called him immediately when they saw on our monitors that the smoke was pouring out. They called him into the pits. They're going to do fueling first, regular service, and then they'll take a look. Remember, under the regulation, they're not allowed to do any servicing while the fueling is being done. Kerry Foot and the boys, they finished second to the Corvette squad in our pit stop competition. So this is a crack team here under green flag conditions. This is devastating for the 24 car today.
Do all the normal service first, Greg. They got the fueling done. They won't touch until then. That's done now. They're going to go ahead and retire. The last thing we'll do is take a look at the oil leak. See underneath the car the droplets of oil that have come out. So it could be a multitude of different things, something easy to fix.
It looks like it's way up front. It smells like gear oil, Kerry.
Possibly a transmission failure.
Better look, and keep in mind these cars, not quite like the one you drive on the highway here, the 5-quart oil line. These subsystems are 15-quart oil.
Dry sump of 15 quarts of oil, we have a big oil leak, make a real big mess. Now they've got to line it off and get inside, see if they can locate the source of that oil. Remember, inside that cockpit or inside the camera, it's pretty hot.
And it's been on fire recently, too.
That's easy
intensifying. Look at what's underneath it.
And all this goes on while we're under green flag conditions, so these boys are losing a lot of valuable time.
And let's make the comment one more time about the teams and the crews here. During this evolution, what's happening? The driver's sitting there comfortable, getting a drink of water, maybe chatting on the radio. It's the crew guys that are in there 300 degrees, touching the hot stuff and working on these cars. So just wanted to remind everybody again that these crews, just amazing, the role that they play here in Blue Ridge. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, everybody. We are under a full course caution here at this stage, and the reason is, well, an off once again by this car and another one involved, and we'll get to that in a moment. But a little bit earlier, Brian Till did a little exploring down in the paddock area and found out Michelin's involvement is not just with drivers on the track.
Regardless of what you may think about the current conflicts that our military is involved with overseas, it's so important that we all support the servicemen and women that are defending our country. Operation Wheels of Freedom is a unique way to say thank you to those servicemen and women. Mike St. Louis with Operation Wheels of Freedom. Mike, tell us a little bit about the program, how it started, what it's all about.
Thanks, Brian. Our original thought was to thank the troops by letting them drive some hot cars and have some fun. But as we got into the program, we recognized that many returning men and women from Afghanistan and Iraq are having serious issues with driving skills. So our emphasis is now on safety, as well as making good driving decisions and teaching car control. We hope to help the troops be safer drivers around the base and at home.
Well, Operation Wheels of Freedom, it sounds like such a great program with the help of Detroit's Big Three, auto manufacturers, some other great sponsors, and of course, the support of Michelin, bringing driver safety and some automotive enthusiasm to our troops.
All right, and we have a slew of pit stops unfolding down in pit lane. You can see the Zytek has just made a stop. Let's check in with our pit guys.
Correct, the Zytek was in, so was the number 20 Dyson car. The number 16 will also be coming to pit road. Your P2 leader, the Porsche, has stayed out.
And no driver's change either in that car. So Calvin, what's going on with the number 1 Audi?
Well, the number 1 was in. Marco Werner brought the car in, turned it. There was a tyre change there, and I spoke to Brad Kettler about why they didn't take one of the earlier cautions. He said, I think the cautions are going to be pretty familiar today. We'll see a lot more stuff in there. So a split strategy. We saw the 2-car pit earlier. Frank Beeler stayed behind the wheel, didn't make a tyre change. Now we've seen a tyre change and driver change on the number 1 machine. We also saw the GT2 leader in the number 23 car, driven by Dumas, turning his hand over to Timo Bernhard. They're going to obviously chase this championship as far as they can, but it's really a long shot for those guys. But that 43 versus 23 battle, that continued even as they came into the pit. Mike Rockefeller tried to out-accelerate Ruma as they came down pit lane, so those guys have really been going at it all day long.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. And there is the number 10 Miracle Motorsports entry in the pits as well. That was the other car involved with the off of the Van der Steur Lola. And so that car is in, and we get a report now, the 31, the entry that is leading right now and looking to clinch the GT2 championship, has pitted and completed its stop. There it is. They are done. They are currently shown in 5th spot. Of course, after the time after all of these stops. And these guys look like they wanted to go for the win, and of course the team championship is still on the line. They're only 6 points in the lead. But, oh, look at this. Leitzinger bringing the Dyson Lola back in. And he's going for the driver change. You saw him start to put the gear on the Velcro on the helmet, and we should see a switch. Brian?
Guys, you called it. They were on a different fuel strategy than the 20 car. But with this full course caution, they'll take the opportunity to come in. James Weaver will take over from Butch Leitzinger. And now it looks like both Dyson cars will be back on a similar fuel strategy. It'll be interesting to see later if they split them, if they get another full course caution. Calvin?
Well, one of the leading cars in GT2 is in the Pano's number 50 machine, driven by Rob Medal. Had a great opening stint, got tapped into that spin. I'm looking at the back end of this car. I don't see any damage, so thank goodness the tap was innocent enough, but certainly cost Rob a lot of track position. Phil Ortman now behind the wheel. They said this car was an absolute nightmare on Thursday, but boy, they turned things around. In fact, they were fastest in the morning warm-up. So these guys look for a good result here. They've had 1 win this year. They certainly want to finish this season off on a high note. Fresh set of Pirellis going on the car, looks like routine.
finish up that stop. And when Liddell did get tempo, he just lit the tires up, trying to get the car to spin around, keep it alive, and maybe save themselves a little bit there. We'll be right back. Hopefully green will be our way shortly. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the oil that's changing oil. By Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. By the UPS Store, the place for help and a whole lot more. And by Klein Tools, tools worth asking for. Ask your tool supplier today for Klein. And we are back at the Monterey Peninsula and just about ready to resume this season finale for the American Le Mans Series, the Monterey Sports Car Championship. Just a little bit past the completion of the first of 4 hours of racing. Frank Wheeler, the number 2 ADT champion, out and leads him out to the final turn. And there you hear it, green, green, green. And Sasha Maassen has brought that Porsche LMP2 car within 1 position of an overall lead. So looking pretty good. Big lockup right there. The tires have cooled off. And you've got Tom Chilton right behind them endorsing. When I say cool off, things have been cooling off rapidly here. So when we go caution, the effect on this tire is going to be prominent.
We heard the track temperatures dropped over 10 degrees in the last hour alone, and it's still plummeting as the temperature outside goes down. And remember, the Porsche is up to second, but it's because it didn't come into the pits this time like everybody else did.
So as we're enjoying this great onboard shot, we want to welcome to the booth the president of the American Le Mans Series, Scott Atherton. And Scott, you've been sitting here watching, obviously, this race unfold thus far. But we've got a good barn burner going on.
Yeah, a lot of great racing. I wish we could keep some consecutive greens going here, but that's the only thing holding us up right now.
That's some great racing. You got to be very excited about the performance of this orange and yellow car we're watching right here. Both they came out of the box fast.
Debut. It was. I don't think anybody suspected that it would be a bad start, but I also don't think anyone anticipated they'd be quite this quick this early.
And I think obviously the excitement around here about the rescue returning to sports car racing is evident because the crowd here is really good.
Well, Jill Campbell and her staff have been elated with the advanced ticket sales. They were up substantially over last year, and it's not just Porsche, but it's Porsche and it's Penske, and now it's DHL as well. So when you take all 3 of those and add them together, that's quite an addition to the series.
By the way, folks, what we're watching here, these 5 cars, that is top 5 overall battle for position. So it's looking pretty good here at this stage. And I want to ask you, at Road Atlanta for the Petit Le Mans, you guys, the schedule for next year is announced. It's a very good package. But we're hearing lots of good rumors about stuff unfolding with cars for next year, like the Aston Martins will be back. Some of the cars that are running now are going to be in the hands of other competitive teams with new cars being purchased. I mean, it all looks very good.
Literally in all 4 classes, there's new content. And I think the example that we see here with the Porsche prototype is just the first example of many. So when we turn up next March for the 2006 opening, the Mobil 112 Hours of Sebring, it's going to be quite a grid.
Take a look now at the action unfolding in GT2, and that battle is still afoot. Bernhard, number 23, the white Porsche, in front now of Wolf Hensler, and they affected a driver change and didn't lose much of the position, Dorsey. They were leading. They've been in the top 2 the whole race. They're still there.
That'll be like that through the whole race. That's not going away. Novel concept coming to this race with Laguna Seca and racing into the night.
We tried it last year, and believe it or not, last year was the first race in the history of Laguna Seca that actually went after dark. And it was such a success last year. I think they got more mail and more calls in a positive sense than anything they've done. So it's a no-brainer to come back and do it again.
By the way, folks, that green Aston Martin that's flashing the lights behind these 2, that is the leader now in GT1. Peter Cox by the wheel, and Calvin Fish as a result of some pit stops by the drivers up front.
I'm sorry, Greg, I didn't hear your question, mate. Go again.
I was just, apparently the leaders in GT1 have made some stops, and Cox is now out front.
Yeah, both the Corvettes made a stop, Greg. We expected them to. They're certainly getting a little bit low on fuel at this stage of the race. Ron Fellows, who did a tremendous opening stint, really just scorched away from this GT1 field today, had a big smile on his face when he jumped out. And on the 4 car, they have made a slight chassis adjustment. They do it from outside the car. They actually have a wrench that goes in, makes an adjustment to the rear sway bar. They went a little bit softer than on that car, so they're just trying to get a little bit more bite, more traction in the 4 car with Ollie Gavin now behind the wheel.
Oh, man, and look at this defensive move by 23 Dumont. This is what infuriated Rockenfeld during qualifying, and they're back at it again, Dorsey.
I could have told Peter Cox just to save all that flashing headlights business. That's not going to do a thing with these two. Just wait for a straightaway and get it done there. Because this is an epic battle between two drivers that right now are mad at each other.
Scott's loving it. I mean, how can you not? This is, I mean, this class has produced such phenomenal racing all year, and we're seeing some of the other divisions starting to mimic some of this competitiveness.
Yeah, when you think about this season, we've taken some heat as not having a part of historical numbers, but I got to say that the quality of the racing this year has literally never been better. And you pick your category right now. You want P1 up in front, GT1, GT2. It's all spectacular.
There's P1 leader, an overall leader, by the way, Frank Biela, and you can see Chilton dropped off maybe just a smidge, but he has gone around Mawson. So the Zytek has picked up a spot in the second overall Andy category. Mawson's still third overall, leading in the LMP2 division. I've got to ask you, Scott, as we're now in the final race of the season, look back at the entirety of the season, what do you take away as maybe the best moment that, from your perspective?
Wow, that's a tough question. I believe in this business, you're only as good as your last race. So the fact that we've been able to deliver the goods, so to speak, in this season finale here, and realize the commitments that were made to bring the Maserati into the series, to have the Porsche here, to have the Aston Martins present. These were all things that were talked about, but there was some skepticism if it would actually come to fruition. And to finish up here in such a beautiful venue and have the quality of racing that we have, the moment we're experiencing right now, for me, is the high water mark.
And Dorsey, we're experiencing a moment right here watching J.J. Leto holding Chris Dyson.
J.J. is like slicing all back and forth on the left, on the right, trying to go by any way he can. Chris Dyson, we saw already long back in Portland that he's not going to play this game. If you want to get by me, you're going to have to drive around me, because I'm not going to back off.
Well, you mentioned this race being a high watermark, Scott. I got to say, all four classes broke the track record. A few of them were obliterated. The Zytek, one of the reasons they stated for wanting to come and run at Petit and then run here was they wanted people to see how good this car was. Of course, on the team, we had the incident right off the top. But they're showing it, trying to sell chassis. Those cars will be legal in America Le Mans for another couple of years. So, I mean, the opportunities here are just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I spoke to the principals of the Zytek firm, and I believe this car has already been sold to a new team that will be entering the series next year. So the car, I believe, goes back to Europe to complete the Le Mans Endurance Series, and then we'll be returning to the States to prepare for next year. And we can have similar stories to tell, or we do have similar stories to tell in virtually every class. Anyone that attended Petit Le Mans saw a lot of familiar faces, people that have historically been involved with the series and haven't been so in recent times, as well as some new folks that are making their interest somewhat well known. So while we always allow manufacturers to be the ones to announce their involvement, anyone that's a student of this industry has a pretty good idea of who I'm talking about.
Well, you mentioned the Zytek going back to Europe. I believe they had a very strong run in the most recent ELMS race, so very impressive there. And I would think on a global level, one thing that bodes extremely well for the American Le Mans Series is you flash back to Le Mans this year and you take a look at the results that American Le Mans Series put up at that venue in that race. It really let the world know that this is awfully impressive.
Out of the 12 podium positions, 12 podium positions available, the American Le Mans Series team brought home 9 of them, including the first overall win in over 35 years.
All right, that's Scott Atherton once again, folks, president of the American Le Mans Series, doing a fabulous job. This series is on the grow and very excited about the future. Thanks so much for stopping in. And folks, we'll be right back to Laguna. There's a brand new show on Speed called One Track Mind. Drivers reveal what it takes to be a championship team. From the strategic thinking to the driver-crew chief dynamics, it all has to be right to win. One Track Mind, Tuesday night at 7 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Speaking of speed, we're on board with our leader, Frank Biela, overall in the LMP1 class, and climbing up to the turn you said, you fall off the face of the earth.
What you do there, no doubt. Everything was fine from his viewpoint, but it doesn't look that great all the way around the racetrack. He's got the best seat.
Now here's J.J. Leto, who was charging and working his way up through the pack of this group, and he has now fallen back to 6th place. And here's why. Dorsey, I can only say it was really a bizarre moment.
Actually, it's James Weaver who's been working up it. This is a bizarre moment for JJ as he approaches turn 1. Watch what happens. There's Chris Dyson, JJ second behind that Weaver, and watch the Audi all of a sudden here get locked up, sparks flying, off into the gravel. He'll make a good save here, I'll be telling you. Goes around to the left and rejoins the racetrack. But I don't know what that was all about at all. A lot of speed on with the car, kept it through the gravel trap.
Now this is real time. Check this out.
JJ had a great recovery, got off the brakes when he got to the gravel, got the car gathered up. Unbelievable.
Just amazing, though. One, that he got through it, but two, how did that happen? What would have precipitated something like that?
I think he actually got caught out in the braking of Chris Dyson, and he had to get on the brakes really, really hard and locked up, and it just slammed the chassis down completely on the skid plates. But he then had the presence of mind to get off that brake when he got in the gravel trap and drive her on through there.
These guys are coming up and working by the Celine, and Celine's going to go home. Sugden, I think, yeah. That's up with the corkscrew.
Well, the Zytec had contact with the 62, which is right there in front of it. You see the Zytec in front of the 63. They made contact a moment ago. Oh, the Panos has got to go around the outside to not hit the J3 Porsche.
Sugden third in class when that happened. I mean, this is one of the best runs we've seen from J3. They've had certainly a few this year, but this one has been spectacular. Sugden has been doing a brilliant job, but had that off. Don't know if he had help or just was on his own or whatever, but it certainly has cost him a couple positions.
You saw the gravel around the dirt. There's some more of it as it goes around the racetrack. The longer that goes on through the night, this will be a skating rink by tonight.
I mentioned earlier that the J3 team is the Yokohamas, and apparently the cars like the Yokohama tires. They're working very well on it, and Sutton is doing an absolutely great job. They also have Rockstar Energy drink on board, which is always nice to bring a little extra resource to the team. And it all seems to be paying off. The package looks pretty good at this stage, and Sutton again doing a great job.
Been driving really well out throughout the race, trying to get back around that Panos.
Well, here's the guy that you said was absolutely ripping his way through the pack. You've been keeping your eye on the video and the monitor.
Yeah, absolutely. James Weaver. This is what James does. Oh, look how he just chops and slices right behind the 23. Almost made contact. He's caught the lead car, as you see right in front of him. Get by the Mazda. He's trying to get to the Porsche. Sliding right in front of him. And, right now, third overall.
So right now, Weaver sits fourth overall, third in class, and he's closing in on that third overall position. And the guy who did the opening couple of stints is with Brian Till.
Butch Leitzinger, a great start there at the beginning of the race to get past the Zytec. Todd, let's talk about track conditions, though, first. How bad is it right out there with the gravel and the cool weather?
It's incredibly slippery, both because of the sand and gravel on the track as well as the temperatures. When I was out there, I just couldn't get any temperature in the tires, and that means there's no grip. And normally as the race goes on, you build up rubber on the track, but there's no temperature to melt the rubber onto the track. And after an hour of racing out there, you still couldn't see any rubber on the track whatsoever. So, I hope that they're burning the tires down right now, because I really don't feel like driving like that in the night.
Well, James is obviously slicing his way back through the pack. It sounded like Dorsey was talking about a cooking show. He said slicing and dicing, but certainly taking the car back to the front. Do you guys have anything for the Zytec? Do you think he's slower on full tanks? Randall Kelsey thinks he may be.
I think we do have something for him. It's, maybe not on a clear lap at full speed, but especially James, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve in traffic, and he's obviously taking big chunks out right now. So we'll just drive as aggressively as we can, and try to force them into mistakes.
Well, we've certainly seen aggressive driving from these guys before. You remember turn 1 in Atlanta, don't you?
Well, you remember, like I said at the beginning of the show, too, it rained last night, and it made this racetrack, all the rubber that had been put down in practice and qualifying, etc., gone. Forget about it. They are a very green racetrack.
Plus the dust, plus the temperatures. And by the way, folks, from Biela to Weaver, the top 4 overall, the margin is 4 seconds. So it doesn't get a whole lot closer than that. Meanwhile, we go back to this great GT2 battle, which has been unfolding, and now Wolf Hensler behind the wheel, and the gentleman who opened the race in that car is standing by with Calvin.
Indeed, Mike Rockenfeller, you had a tremendous opening stint. This weekend, you and Romain Dumas have certainly had your axe to grind. Did you sort things out on the racetrack today?
Yeah, I mean, today it was fair, not like yesterday where he blocked me. It was a hard fight, but I think it was all the time fair. I tried my best to defend my position. It was pretty good. I think it was good fun, and it was good fun to watch.
Right now, Wolf is running second. I know you really want him to get on the tail of that 23 car with the potential of the overall leader getting between you guys and can really hurt you in terms of class.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be right on the bumper of the 23 car the whole time, that the chance is minimized, you know, that we lose a lap. And then it's still a long race. We just need to keep pushing and hope at the end maybe the others have some problems, and then we have a good chance.
All right, mate, good luck.
Thanks.
Certainly all of these young Porsche drivers, every time that yellow LMP2 car comes by, they give it a glancing look like, God, I wish I was in there.
Oh yeah, that's what they're aiming for in a sense, but I tell you what, it's tough to come up with better racing than you have in the GT2. And Darcy explained once again for everybody who's watching, we just heard him say that we've got to stay right behind that leader. We've got to stay right behind him because we could lose a lap. How, you know, I mean, that's the situation. Here's this battle once again. I mean, Lato has reeled in Dyson once again, so this battle continues. But explain that a little
Take
bit.
these two cars right here. They're running overall in first and second place. Now, if they catch up with the tail end of a race that's going on in some other class and they get between that race and the caution comes out, the car behind loses a lap, essentially. The one car gets all the way to go around, the other car loses a lap, and they haven't done anything wrong. Sooner or later, when we get a caution, we'll see that. Ooh, they almost went to the racetrack there. It's pushing hard.
Yeah, Dyson sitting in fifth, Lato in sixth, and Lato, well, I tell you, obviously it doesn't look like it was any kind of a failure or whatever when he had that moment, so he must have just hit the brakes,
I think
got
it was
caught out a little bit.
I think it was just a cold tire, got caught out on where Chris Dyson broke from, and he got on his brakes really hard, slammed the chassis on the skid plates, then the tires bump up into the wheel wells, the rubber's not on the ground anymore, then you go flying off the racetrack.
Well, and he was coming across behind him when he went to the brake, and it isn't like a Formula car when you lose the air on the nose, but there is some aero effect, and I wonder if that may have contributed to it as well. Well, whatever, he is back, he is fast, and here are your four class leaders. Welcome back to Monterey, everybody. We're about an hour and 45 minutes into this 4-hour race. If you're just joining us, here's what happened. At the start, pole sitter Tom Chilton and the Zytek leads down into the Andretti hairpin, but being very cautious, flashing back to Road Atlanta a couple weeks ago, no doubt. Butch Leitzinger around the outside easily. A little bit later on, Chris Dyson, the teammate in the other car, running wide in turn 6. Brilliant job of saving it. Then the Celine leading in GT1, but power steering problems again. Probably caused them to run wide, and they have spent a lot of time in the pits. They're still back out. Then, a little bit later on, contact between the Maserati and the number 50 Panos. The Panos third in class at the moment. Both were able to continue. The number 6 Porsche almost collected as well. Robin Liddell had to fight back. In GT2, this war has been going on for about an hour and 45 minutes. First Dumont, Rockefeller, now Bernhard and Hensler. Meanwhile, the number 24 Alex Job Racing empty a lot of smoke. A big problem with oil, that car behind the wall currently. And then, fairly recently, J.J. Lato, a bit of a bizarre moment, just apparently locked the brakes up at just the wrong time, skated wide at the approach of the Andretti hairpin and got away with it. And then, Tom Chilton trying to get underneath the Celine. Little bit of contact right there. Again, remember the Celine operating without power steering. Kind of tough to make those quick adjustments when somebody's diving up underneath you, I would think, in that scenario. Now we are in the middle of our fourth caution of this race. We want to get down to the pits and get an update on what's been unfolding. Let's start with Calvin.
Well, Greg, during this caution period, the overall leader of the race, Frank Bieler, made a pit stop, full service there, tires, fuel, and changed over to Emanuele Pirro. At the same time, the number 1 car, J.J. Lato, had been struggling a little bit, trying to get by Chris Dyson, also made a stop. He stayed in the car. It was fuel only, and he was able to leapfrog Emanuele Pirro in pit lane and take over position there. Meanwhile, further down pit lane, we thought there'd be more changes made on the GT2 and GT1 cars, but they decided to stay out. Let's go down to Brian.
Guys, most notably, the 15 car did not come to pit road as we go back to green. The 6 did, took fuel only, also the number 58. Aston Martin came in, Pedro Lamy got in that car, and the number 35 with De Simone came in, fuel only for the Maserati. Let's get back to the racing.
Absolutely, we are back to green. By the way, the reason for the caution, the number 78 J3 Racing Porsche Maurizio Fabri just had a minor off into the gravel in turn 2 and had to be hauled out. So nothing major there, but it did open up the pits and people were able to take advantage of it. And one of the stories that we've been following is the charge back to the back of the car second in the screen, the 1610 for Norco Lola, in the hands of James Weaver. He's hungry.
Yeah, he is. Greg, one of our Porsche keys of the race that we talked about at the opening of the show is fuel strategy. We're seeing it played out right now. And some guys are opting not. 15 is leading, opting not to take advantage of that time going in the top of the fuel. So we're going to have to see how that plays out as the next 2 hours of this race goes.
Well, this is pretty interesting right here. When he's been in the lead, he's been able to do it fairly comfortably, and Weaver has been arguably the fastest car on the track. You heard a little bit earlier, if you've been with us from the beginning, that Leitzinger said maybe on a clear track at absolute full tilt, the Zytek has something, but he said when it comes down to racecraft and certainly working traffic, Weaver is a magician. So it's going to be interesting to see here. Now you can see the gap up top three. Now there is the first of the Audis. That's J.J. Leto, and then Emanuele Pirro now behind the wheel of the number 2 car, taking over for Bila as we hop on board with Emanuele at this stage.
From this point on in the race, it'll continue to get darker, obviously, and get much colder. These cautions are going to really hurt the tire temperature situation, as we heard Butch Leitzinger allude to before, that there's no rubber down there, and it's so slippery they're not putting any rubber down there.
So just in front of these 2 Audis and that Aston Martin, that yellow Porsche, who is still leading comfortably in the LMP2 division at this stage and running right in the mix of those overall leaders.
The pass we see being made right now on the Aston Martin, Audi through cleanly.
It's a big old chunk of tire rubber that's been gathered up apparently at this stage. And meanwhile, as we watch right here is the number 6 still, Sasha Maassen behind the wheel.
Greg, you call it Sasha Maassen staying behind the wheel. The Michelin tire tech looked at the tires when they came in and said, no, double Stenham, go ahead. So they filled them with fuel only. They care about winning the P2. Why was the crew so concerned about whether the 16th car had passed them under full course caution? I got to believe that the boys down at Penske Racing see that Porsche can win overall, guys.
Well, it certainly is showing the pace, and I've never known the Penske equipped to go for anything, much less than a win when they have the opportunity. The interesting thing here is, as far as we can tell, this is the first time that Penske Racing has an association with Michelin. As Brian pointed out, they left them on. They like what they're doing.
That's true. It is the first time I think that Porsche with Penske has had a situation with the Michelin company before. As you see right now, the Corvette getting passed by the Audi.
Now, for all intents and purposes, this has pretty much been a quote-unquote learning curve weekend. They keep referring to it as a test weekend for the Porsche. Pretty impressive scores.
Rob Dyson, on the other hand, tells you that Porsche is showing you only what Porsche wants to show you. Now, do I think the 6 is going to win this overall? I don't know. There's political implications if it wants to go to Le Mans. They come out here and beat everybody, isn't it? I mean, they need an invite to get there. It's not just go there.
Absolutely.
Well, question, it's a fast car. That's
a very quick car indeed. And obviously we saw John Field bring that Intersport logo up right behind that car, had the help of the yellow, but then they turned over Liz Halliday, who obviously very talented, but not quite as quick as John. Clint now in the car and running some very competitive laps as you would expect. But we'll have to see what unfolds here. But just the fact that this car right now is not only leading both J.J. Leto and Emanuele Pirro, doing it relatively comfortably, not being hounded constantly, I think pretty much tells the tale as we hop on board with Clint Field now behind the wheel of that very, very exotics Intersport Lola.
Well, there's so many unanswered questions, about that Porsche. Fast? Yeah, that's answered. It's quick. Fuel mileage, we don't know about fuel mileage yet. We're learning about the tires on the car right now. A lot of things to look at there.
And durability is still the one thing that, that's why they didn't run at Petit Le Mans. Watching now from the back of Clint Field, and right now they are running in 7th overall. Field is 2nd in class at this stage, but the key right now is you're basically a lap down to that Porsche. Now they have pitted one more time, so I think the situation is at this stage, 1, obviously out of sequence in the pit stops, but 2, remember they came in here with a big, Clint did certainly, with a big lead in that driver's standings, 70%. We talked about that at the top of the show. You've got all he has to do is if he can get to 70%, he's got himself a driver's championship. So maybe they're just not pushing it as hard as they could anyway.
That's a very good point. They don't need to beat the Porsche this time out. They do need to make 70% to get that championship for Clint, a young man who certainly deserves it. Worked hard this team all year to get in that position. They're not too far off on their lap times between the 2 cars either. They're running pretty similar right now.
Last year, roughly, just to give you an idea, 70% of the overall race leaders' distance was about 119 laps. Now, of course, this is a timed event, so that shifts and yellows.
Oh, there's a yellow for you.
There's somebody went off substantially here.
That's the 23.
Oh boy, Timo Bernhard.
Timo Bernhard, and he's not going anywhere. That's going to bring out another full course, no doubt about that. He's going to go several laps down.
Well, this may be the defining moment in the race right now for the GT2 Drivers' Championship.
I think you're looking right at it.
I mean, these guys needed to win and have the 31 car have basically no points to finish. And now the 43 of Wolf Hensler. That's Bam Porsche in the lead. Meanwhile, let's go and see what happened here. Oh, help.
Aston Martin's there. And around he goes.
Just got that little tink, and that's all it takes in that corner.
And there goes the championship, because I guarantee you he's going to be there a lap or two at least before anyone can come and get him.
And they were leading, to make that doubly painful, they were leading in class, obviously, as they went off. So that's going to hurt even more, and this is going to result in our 5th caution of this Monterey Sports Car Championships. Let's check in with Calvin.
Well, the crew are getting ready here. They're going to try and get everything ready. Meanwhile, we're going to try and have a quick word with Romain Dumas. Try and get him over to the pit wall here. Romain, this is major disappointment for you guys. Slim hopes of the championship may have just gone out of the window.
Well, sure. But since the start, we saw that the guy in the Aston Martin was really not fair and driving like crazy. And it happened what it should happen. They all the time overtake you, but they stay in your door. So they are too tired, you know. It's not because you are a better car that you are a better driver.
You can tell he's very frustrated here. The team are just devastated. They wanted to win here. They wanted to go out on a high. And they certainly wanted to give the Peterson crew a run for their money on the championship.
Boy, I mean, unbelievable the way things have sort of pendulum swung here as the season has unfolded in this GT2 class. I mean, obviously the 31 looking very good after Sebring, then a slew of wins by this car, then it's changed up. These guys have had nothing but horrific luck the last 4 races.
They have to get drug out of the trap, go back, put their head down, forget about it, because this is still not over. I mean, there's a long way to go in this race. Competition can break down, crash, anything can still happen. I mean, it's disappointing yet, but it's still not over.
Keep in mind, Timo Bernhard, the 2-time champ in this division, 03 and 04, so he certainly knows about championships. For Romain, it would have been very sweet. It would have been a championship for him at this stage. And when we talked to Scott Atherton earlier, he was talking about what a great crowd is on hand here. They've got the 23 car out. Here is your GT2 leaderboard, top 5. Thursday nights on Speed, check out The Chase is on. Now there are only 10. Where does your driver stand in the chase for the Cup? Join Dale Jarrett and Ralph Shaheen as they break down the facts, the stats, and how the chase is stacking up. The Chase is on Thursday night, 8 Eastern, only on Speed. Welcome back to Laguna. Let's go right down to Calvin Fish.
Well, big problem, Tim, the number 37 Intersport machine. Clintfield made a stop, fuel only. Couldn't get any life back into this AER engine. So right now this has huge championship implications. Remember, Clintfield, to capture the championship today, has to score some points if the Mazda was to win. So they need to get the 70% distance. That's about another hour before they're going to get any points on the board. Other pit stops down at this end. Both Corvettes are in. The 3 car came in front of the 4 car but got leapfrogged. Ollie Gaffin stayed behind the wheel of the 4 car. One fellow jumped into the 3. The 3 car was a little reluctant to fire up. He lost 2 or 3 seconds there, so a change in position. We also saw 2 of the GT2 cars in. The leading number 43 was in. Wolf Henson stayed behind the wheel. There's a tyre change there, fresh Yokohamas. And we also saw the 31 car, the championship leading Peterson White Lightning car, come in. Jörg Bergmeister stayed behind the wheel of that car, and a fresh set of Michelin's on his too.
All right, thanks very much. And we are back to green. Green flag has come out. And it's James Weaver leading the field. Sasha Bassett in the Porsche, second overall. Leading in LMP2, but second overall once again. Then the 2 Audis looking pretty racy. We have a report that the number 58 of Petrolami has been brought in and served a stop and go for contact. And of course, that was with the number 23 of Bernhard that put 23 in the gravel. And you heard the update on the GT2 pit stops with the 23 situation. Guess who's leading? Bill Oberlin in the Panos. that was sideways at the exit of turn 11 not that far ago. So number 50 Panos has rebounded nicely, thank you.
Greg, one thing I saw on the restart, the two Audis very close in proximity to one another as they came onto the straightaway. They almost did have a little moment there, and we've seen that over the course of this year. These two guys are willing to mix it up.
Willing to mix it up indeed. And speaking of Audis, let's welcome a special guest to the booth, and that is Tom Christensen, who has stopped by on an off weekend from competition. And great to have you with us, of course. First of all, congratulations once again on that 7th Le Mans win. Absolutely spectacular to be there and witness that, and I'm sure it was even better for you. So great to have you with us here. And as Dorsey said, we've seen these guys and these two cars mix it up here this season.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It's lovely to come back and meet all the champion boys again and see them working under stress while I take a weekend off. And I'm glad to be here and witness some really great racing. So far it has been really good, and for sure Demarage and the crew are able all season. I've been part of Sebring and Le Mans obviously, and we are able to race and go full. Of course there's a lot of respect between us, but we really love the racing of it, and that is what you see. And I think so far today the race is pretty open with the yellows, and with the way tactics are a little bit, strategies are going a little bit wide on the 4 cars in front. But it's Manuel is on new tires, JJ on old now, and I think Manuel has a good chance to come by the Porsche pretty fast. But you also would see a Shimoda coming in the side tech from the back. So it's very, very open and very interesting.
Well, let's take a look quickly here at GT1, and it's a new leader, and it's the Maserati of Fabrizio De Simone with the pit stop sequence. These guys stayed out, and that Maserati has taken the lead, and it has not been out of the hunt very much today at all, Dorsey. This car has been very close. It's certainly quick and is doing a very nice job at this stage and leading the division.
Again, all these teams making different fuel options. With a longer race, there's more windows of opportunity to get things done. It's the same way.
But Tom, I liked how you put it about the fact that up front, what we're seeing throughout the field, as Dorsey said, the fact that there's a lot of different approaches to the pit strategy, the fuel strategy, the whole thing. Certainly we're seeing that here in GT1.
Fabrizio De Simone doing a great job right now, guys, but I think the very interesting thing is during that full course caution when they came in on that last stop, they double stinted those tires, and that is something that we have not seen out of the Maserati and Pirelli camp, especially after the problems that they had at Road Atlanta. But with these cool temperatures, they're willing to take that gamble here at Laguna Seca.
Well, that is the upside indeed. Oh boy, now the number 37 still struggling. Calvin?
Well, they worked underneath the hood, Greg, to try and get some life back into that motor, but to no avail. They asked the officials if we can bump start him and bring him back in, and then he fires up under his own power. They said that's okay, but the guys are now giving him about 150-yard dash there and still no life in that car, so there's obviously further trouble underneath the hood.
Well, they got to essentially just get this car to run and make 70% of the distance to win, but as you can see, that's not working out that easily.
But they can't push start it, can they?
No,
if they push start and get it running, then they got to get it back, shut it off, and then you fire it again correctly, don't they? I mean, per the rules.
Well, that's absolutely right, Greg. They do have to bring him back in. The official said, yes, you can do it, but you've got to come back in and show us so the car will fire up under its own power. So manpower is not good enough, and it looks like now they're going to take him behind the wall and maybe change out that starter motor.
Wow, I mean, this is a huge development in the LMP2 points battle, particularly in the Drivers' Championship. And also remember, we've got the team battles alive there as well. So this is huge. And certainly one of the quicker cars on the track. And by the way, we did see a pass for position. We saw that Shimoda in the Zytek was able to get by Andy Wallace in the number 20 Dyson Lola. He has now picked up the 5th spot. So Shimoda, oh boy, Dorsey, just looking at the monitor, a 1:16.6 for Shimoda once he got around Wallace. So Hayanari is putting his head down, and that's unbelievably fast.
It's very fast, and obviously I think you will see more of that as the temperature drop from when they start the race until when they're going to finish it. It's really, really unbelievable. Even at Le Mans, I think it's difficult to see a big temperature drop from the surface temperature from the start of the race to the end. In just 4 hours, it's you will see the narrow tires on these cars really perform, I think.
We should say also it's totally legal for the 37 to push the car behind the wall and work on it and bring it back out. There's no penalty for doing that. In fact, they encourage it, take all the congestion off pit lane, go try to put that starter motor and get Clint back in the steering.
very impressed with the pace of this LMP2 Porsche. I mean, for all of the talk about it being a test weekend, well, we're going to shake things out and see how it goes. This car is playing right amidst the LMP1 contenders in the overall battle. I mean, the pace. I mean, Sasha's a great driver. Boy, this car is working.
Yeah, the test is, how do you like me now?
Currently sitting, by the way, second overall. The only guy in front of him is James Weaver, and the margin is all of 2.2 seconds. And Aston Martin, Corvette, Celine. Boy, we've got a scrum going on right here. That's 57 Brabham. Right behind him is 4 Beretta. And also Borchardt right in that mix. And then Fellows. So this is a huge battle right now for second in GT2. Brabs and Borchardt was able to leapfrog and picked up a spot. So Borchardt even without power steering, but these guys are driving. This is amazing, I think, what they're doing without power steering on this track.
Terry was complaining in the yellow about having cramping in his shoulder. And if that's the case, boy, I tell you, he's doing a heck of a job. Oh, Corvette in way too deep, just locks up the wheels there, tires, slides wide, keeps the position up.
Here we go.
But he had a go, huh?
Boy, he sure did have a go. That was Beretta.
A little too much there.
And Borchardt wasting no opportunity to jump on that. And one of these, Doug Feehan said, this has got to be frustrating. I was thinking this league guys could be, because Feehan said, with the rear engine car on a track that doesn't offer up a lot of grip, having that engine closer to those rear wheels, he said, this car is going to become better and better as the race unfolds. Then they have to be doing this. It's a great opportunity.
That's a problem for Terry, not to have the power steering because of the load that you experience from the elevation change here. When you climb that hill in turn 6, it really pushes the car hard into the asphalt, and the grip is very, very good for that short period of time.
Ron Fellows back behind the wheel of the number 3, or I should say still behind the wheel of the number 3, but keep in mind, up front it's still Fabrizio Di Simone and the Maserati, but they didn't stop last time. Jean Richard is the official timekeeper of the American Le Mans Series. The clock on the wall, 5:30 here in the Pacific. But we are about 2 hours and 15 minutes into this 4-hour Monterey Sports Car Championship season finale event. And up front, James Weaver continues to lead overall up front. But without a question, the greatest battle that is unfolding on the track and continues to is in GT1. Essentially for second place, with the leader right now out of sequence on the stops. It is the Aston Martin in the hands right now of David Brabham, the silver of Simcoe Celine, of Terry Borchardt, and Ron Fellows now, the number 3 CompuWare Corvette, has gone around teammate Olivier Beretta. And these 4 have been running in lockstep for some time, swapping positions, but this has been the battle. And if you remember earlier, we saw the number 4 try a big move and run wide. Well, he got balked here as he tried another move, and Dorsey door slam.
Yeah, got the door slam, and watch now. Ron Fellows says, "Oh, you lost your momentum. Guess what? I'll take that." But remember, these guys are racing for a driver's championship here. Ooh, and they touched a little bit right there.
Right there.
I bet you Doug Feehan got on the radio and said, "We won't have no more of that."
Well, as you make, and he completes the pass, Fellows does it, picks up the spot. The difference coming in between these two teams, the drivers of the 4 car up by 15 points coming in. So they're certainly in the driver's seat. But right now, at the pace we're seeing Brabham and Borchardt, this is getting curiouser and curiouser.
If you're a driver like Ron Fellows, you know fully well that one thing you have to do in this race is you have to stay in front of that 4 car to win that championship. That's part of it. But now you got these guys you got to mess with too.
Showing some very strong pace. Meanwhile, as we said, Olivier Beretta at war out there, and Calvin, you've got his co-driver.
Indeed, Ollie Gavin. Great battle going out there between the 2 Corvettes. I mean, the championship is on the line today. How much concern did you have about getting too involved in a fight on the racetrack till you get to 70% and get some points on the board?
Well, it's something that's in the back of Olivier and my mind. You know, we've got to think about the championship, we've got to think about long term. But, you know, it's a great race today. You know, we've got the boys just catching up to the Maserati now, so it's a fantastic race. I mean, to have the Maserati, the Aston Martin, the Celine, the Corvette all battling out for the lead. I think it's one of the best races of the year so far, so it's great. And, you know, there's still another hour and 45 minutes to go, so anything could happen.
would be a great day for you, Ollie, if you can clinch this first Drivers' Championship in IMSA. But talk about the fact that's been a big month for you at home. I understand you've had your third child, you and your wife, this month.
Yeah, that was a fantastic moment for me to have our third child, a little boy called Fergus, and he was born on Sunday, so just in the nick of time, so I was there for the birth. But yeah, if I can clinch this Drivers' Championship, it certainly will finish off a perfect week for me.
Best of luck, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Oh man, are we seeing some racing? And by the way, folks, you see the Maserati, as Ollie attested to, they have run down that car. This is for the lead.
Don't let him do that again.
5-car battle for the lead, and Fellows trying to go around the outside of the Aston Martin. And Big C, that was Big saying, don't let him do it again.
Well, I was talking about Ron Fellows running around the outside of the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin was clearly not going to give him any room and push him off in the racetrack. Big sees him. Big sees him go down there and punch somebody. He doesn't want his car hurt. He wants to win.
That's a great race. It's really good. And now you come up to a slower Maserati at the moment. So poor. Oh, he's taking it at the corkscrew.
There you go. Good job.
Baby! Yeah, baby! Yeah! You're the man!
That's Binks. That is the crew chief. And oh, Bradton got so hurt in terms of momentum that there goes Borchler as well. Oh, and look at this move. Fellows underneath and picks the lead up. Boy, he threaded the needle of traffic.
Dude. Unbelievable. Nice and smooth. Don't even look out back.
So that's what you need, a corner man. Dan Binks tell him, good job, good job. Don't even look in your rearview mirror now. Just set sail. You're the fastest guy. So let them guys battle it out.
Great zap stuff there, buddy.
Very impressive. I mean, it's great to watch.
Oh, look who's coming up right into the fray here.
Here's
James
trouble.
Weaver coming up. He is going to start pounding and interfering and messing up these guys. Got to come under Beretta. I think smart move there by Beretta to
let that go away. That problem. See the little hand up? Thank you. Thank you. James Weaver's like a Doberman with a grenade in his mouth. You don't want him around you.
I just remember sometimes it's difficult to see if it's a hand or a finger.
That's right. You see him right there giving the guys the wave, say thanks.
And there is little doubt that Ron Fellows is on mission right now.
Boy, no doubt about it. I mean, that was some seriously nice, aggressive driving by Ronnie. Wants this championship very badly, you know, in his career. Look at this.
Well, he's the only guy who's won 3 class championships in ALMS, and wants another one here. Let's get him back now, and we're going to show you
the sights of this.
That was a 3 wide coming out of a very, very tight area of the racetrack. And now look, the Porsche's involved, the Zytek's involved. He's on inside.
And
the Zytek is up to second. He has passed, while we've been watching the GT1 battle, I mean, he has passed Leto, Piro, and Marcin just going down to the last turn.
All at once, and they got slowed up, and he just didn't slow up.
No, he took them, but I mean...
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. And I mean, Shimoda, in 1 lap, essentially, was able to get by.
So, well, I'm going to pass you, and while I'm at it, I'll pass you, and you, and you.
Well, and we've been talking about it, Dorsey, and I don't know, Tom, if I've been able to see it, but watching that Zytek, when it goes to throttle, that car just leaps forward, and it just, I would think that would make that car very effective in traffic.
Yeah, the car is very agile, there's no doubt, but I mean, look, the Audi R8 is from 2000, and it's still the car to be beaten in the championship, and it's still strong, but the Zytek is very, very agile, and you have seen the drivers are able to place it where they want, and as I said, the temperature goes down, it's going to play in their hands, but impressive what they did, and unfortunately there's just too many things going on, so your camera cannot follow everything at the moment, so it's too close in GT1, too close in the LMP class at the moment.
It's just incredible, and there Mazda able to finally sneak by the Maserati right in tow. It's going to be late tow, and realize that Maserati was coming. Oh, nice counter move though, but the Maserati came over the dove to the inside. Behind the Maserati is the Celine, and then the Aston Martin. So with all of this going on, Ron Fellows has now opened up in a lap and a half, folks. He's opened up almost a 7-second margin because of all this battling that is unfolding here. Just some absolutely incredible racing going on right here. And once again, we want to show you the leaders in our 4 different classes running here at the Monterey Sports Car Championships. Welcome back to the Monterey Sports Car Championships. Final round of the ALMS season. The battle closing up at the front of the pack. And Hayanar Shimoda taking a run. Boy, he came out of nowhere, made up a lot of ground, and dove to the inside. Unbelievable. I don't think Weaver expected that to happen at all.
No, it's really a great move. I mean, James Weaver is really, really tough to pass, but you saw, I'm sure he has looked his mirror, he thought he's okay, and then he just throws it in, Shimoda. It's 100% attack, 110%. I mean, it could have gone wrong. Weaver tries the best to close him after he's taken by surprise. But yeah, it's great sports coverage.
He was 150% because he had 50% of the car in the dirt.
He was hoping Shimoda would back off right there with that little tactic there. But remember what happened to Shimoda in the last race by Weaver attacking on the inside the same way. Great pass.
Payback.
Yeah, I mean, Shimoda says, I'm on the inside this time.
That's how you do it, and clean. Meanwhile, look at this. Here comes the 57. Grab up. Contact. Bang.
I knew that was coming. There's no room on the outside there.
Fourth in class right now. Bradley trying to get around DeSimone. And that again for fourth in class. Up in front of them, it's fellows Bortolo Beretta. 1, 2, 3 at this stage.
Boy, DeSimone between his teeth being aggressive this week. He's not wanting anybody. Oh, and smoke. There's a little bit of smoke. That could have been just brakes. They hit pretty good side to side.
Now, it's important to note that the Maserati this year is not running for points in the championship, but it is running for position. It is running for everything else.
Right.
Racing.
Yeah, a lot of pride. That team, come over, stick over here the whole year.
Working on a program for next year, so this is really important for Maserati as well, and they've been playing here right now. Some very, very strong racing here, and certainly Simone is not being intimidated at all right now by the likes of David Brabham. Remember, this team was able to win with Stefano Ortelli, was able to win at Sebring, and didn't quite get the job done at Le Mans. And this is only their fourth race in the ALMS championship this year. So much promise for these cars, and this is one of the teams, the cars.
Here we go.
Now we go, and again, almost a hit, or probably a little hit.
Oh, they touched.
Oh, look at this here.
It happened again up here, the next right-hander with the other car.
Yeah, Petrolami is able to get by as well. I think the Maserati got lost.
This was too aggressive close. This was a good move from It was too. He probably had problems to watch the mirrors really well.
You really got to watch on those side-to-side hits with these sedan cars that you don't knock the balance out of the wheel and have a puncture because of it. Little Trans Am trick.
Yeah, but turn 2 is a really good one. You can really shortcut and go in and dive into it. He did it well. I mean, that was not necessary. Touch it that time.
Well, this battle now unfolds essentially for fifth in class in that category. We go to the GT2 division. That's number 50. The Panos and Bill Oberlin leading. And remember, the 23 car now has been dragged out of the gravel pit, but is way down, just trying to reclaim laps. But Bill Oberlin, after that moment for teammate Liddell earlier, that car has come back strong.
Greg, the car is running extremely well. The biggest problem they have, though, is no radio communication between the pits and Bill out on the racetrack. So during that last caution, they were hoping that Bill would take under his own steam to actually come into pit lane and top up with fuel. Right now, they're very low on fuel, so they've actually got the signal board out over the wall. They believe they've got about 3 or 4 more laps of fuel before he needs to make a pit stop. But the car is running well. Pirellis are performing very well, and Rob Liddell is fired up and ready to get behind the wheel.
And that also probably means that he has no idea the car behind him has come out of the pits and is lapped down, and that's why he's fighting so hard.
That's a very good point. Meanwhile, the Maserati's in. Brian?
Fabrizio DeSimone gets out. Andrea Bertolini gets in. It'll be fuel, and they will take new Pirelli tires this time around. But guys, it really surprised everybody when DeSimone came to pit road. This seems to be somewhat of an unscheduled stop. You see some tire marks down the right side of the car, and that must have been from the battle with the Aston Martin. It'll be interesting to find out why the hurry, why the rush to pit road. This seems to have been unscheduled.
I wonder, Brian, if he had a puncture like from that side-to-side contact, he felt the tire going down.
Well, after Lamy went by, it looked to me that it was that close, and suddenly it looked like the Maserati was really off the pace for a little bit. So maybe exactly what you talked about, maybe they did cut a tire or a valve stem or something.
It's easy to do on that side-to-side hit like that. He's done a couple of them, not just one.
Yeah, they haven't the right front. That's exactly where it is. It might be worse.
Oh, now they're going to pull the tire off.
Just checked in with the team. They said it feels like he bent the suspension, that something has been up front, could be a steering arm or something like that, but they're definitely looking up inside.
Well, again, right after Lammy went by and they touched again, it just looked like that car just suddenly really slowed down for a few corners, and then we cut away from it. So
it's kind of a typical damage thing on these sedans when you get alongside with another and bang wheels like that, bend a toe link or maybe a lower control arm or whatever, and then you got a toe problem. Car's not good.
It was really not necessary.
Heat of the battle.
Yeah,
but unnecessary. Well, again, I think these guys, this team as a whole, of course, it's the Maserati factory along with BC Competizione, and so much on the line for them. Look at that, that thing's crabbing.
Yeah.
That car is seriously wounded, I think. Meanwhile, we want to remind you to check out AmericanLeMans.com for up-to-date race and series information at AmericanLeMans.com. You can update yourself on all of the news from the ranks of world-class sports car racing, and don't forget to check out the cool gear available. Remember, the holidays are approaching. That is AmericanLeMans.com. Well, once again, here are the leaders of the 4 different classes running here at the Monterey Sports Car Championship. Don't go away. Monday night at 7 on Speed, catch NASCAR Nation. Go off track, in depth, and into the lives of NASCAR superstars. Join Leanne Tweeden, Vicki Johnson, and Craig Reynolds for NASCAR Nation. It's life beyond the fast lane. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Speaking of speed, we just had a pass for the lead in GT2, and now Oberlin ducks into the pits. Finally realized without radio, got the hint somehow that he needed to get in for fuel and maybe a driver's change. But unbelievable, the battles we are seeing in all of these different classes here. It has been just incredible. Calvin?
Well, Oberlin is in and the team goes to work here. Plano's boys just looking for some glimmer of hope on this season, which has been awfully long since Road Atlanta, where they had that victory way back in April. Since that time, really been a struggle with this car. The last round at Motorsport, they found that the chassis was completely broken. They had to weld the chassis up, and they got it back to the shop in Atlanta. When they got here on Thursday, the car was still not good. They worked diligently over the course of the weekend. Bill Oberlin just helping Rob Liddell get strapped in, waiting on the last drop of fuel, and that'll be a fresh set of Pirelli tires. Rob Liddell really has come alive here the last 2 years. In this form of competition, won many races last year in LMP2 with Clint Field on Pirelli tires, and obviously they were a major factor in him moving over to this team and bringing the Pirelli tire deal as well.
It seems to me that of all the players in the different classes, all of the lead players, well, this is the first one that's pitted under green. This is going to really hurt.
Oberlin actually was looking inside the cockpit there to see if he could see any lead that was not connected there to try and sort out this radio communication glitch that they're having to struggle with. Bit of a problem there with the left rear tire. Now he's got the all clear firing up.
So Liddell behind the wheel, bringing that car back out once again. The question is now, is he, how long were they in the pits? Remember, the lapping here in about 1:30. I don't think he was in that long, so he shouldn't go down a lap, but he's going to go down an awful large chunk of a lap at this stage, and they're going to be praying for yellow. But Dorsey, let's go back and take a look at this pass.
There's a corkscrew as they drop down the hill. By this time, Bill knows he's going to make that pit stop, so he leaves the open gap for the 31 to go on the inside. That's a smart thing to do. He knows he's going to make that pit. They've obviously been waving and screaming at him along the pit lane, saying, "You're out of fuel, come in."
And interesting, isn't it? The number 31 of York Bergmeister's teammate Pat Long come in here. Big lead in points. Just need to get to 70% and everything, and they're leading. And they have been racing hard throughout. They've been cautious getting to the front, but they have gone to the front. And one of the comments Pat Long made, and York backed it up, he said, "We want to win the team championship because of the job our crew and our team has done this year. That's as important to us as the Drivers' Championship." That's pretty class. It's back down to Calvin.
Well, Bill Oberlin is out of the car. Bill, I know it's frustrating when you don't have good communication between you and the team. What was happening there?
Well, there's no radio. So that last one, I had half a tank of gas and it was should I pit, shouldn't I pit. I mean, I thought for sure we'd get another yellow. They didn't, you know, I did get a sign to come in. It was really technically a mistake on my half that I should have come in. I mean, the car's running great. At the end, the tires were giving up, but we'll keep going.
That was the major concern, is lack of traction over the course of the weekend. I spoke to Rob this morning, said the car's much better. How are the Pirellis holding on through a full stint?
I mean, that was a full stint. That was to the end, and the last 10 laps, they were greasy. But it's a pretty soft compound. As we go into the night, we're going to hope they just make it all the way through the night.
Great job, mate.
Thanks.
Bill Auberlen, boy, talk about a guy who just gives it. He is unbelievable. He's spent with pretty much any kind of a vehicle here. I remember him here in 1998 in the World Sports Car BMW, and surprised everybody by pulling out a big win in that category the first time he'd driven one of those cars. So pretty amazing. And Liddell, pretty talented driver as well at this stage. And by the way, we want to update you on something here. James Weaver, who of course had been running second in that battle with Shimoda. Also, I said the only team I was aware of out of the major players in the class that had stopped at the green was these guys, but Weaver had to do it as well. And there he is, and he's still on board, and I think they're double stinting the tires. So it's just a matter of fuel, but that's why he's back in the order a little bit.
Drops him to fifth, and again, we're playing out this Porsche Keys to the Race, the fuel strategy. A 4-hour race dictates a complete different way of looking at things than the normal 2 hours in 45 minutes. And so we don't know toward the end what this is all going to mean, because everybody's going to have to stop and get fuel.
And guess what? A good battle unfolding in GT1 once again. There we go. Borchler and Beretta. Beretta dive bombs down underneath going into the Andretti hairpin, but again gets in too hot. Borchler accelerates and comes right back out again. That's twice we've seen Beretta try that low move in and just wash out mid-corner.
That is experience. Kerry Borchler realized he can't go in that deep, so he let it happen, and when the Corvette cleared his nose, he just cut underneath it and got the position back.
Yeah, it's fun. Great racing.
It's fun when it works, isn't it?
I wonder the Porsche, if Lucas Luhr, maybe they can't find him, but I mean, Sasha Maassen has now driven 2 hours and close to 45 minutes.
And there's a problem, because if you go to 3 hours or exceed 3 hours, you're disqualified. One driver can only go that long, the 3 hours, before they have to swap out and get the other. Where are you, Victor?
Napping hard in the trailer right now. So by the way, I wanted to just let you know that number 35, the Maserati, which had such a great run, is still in the pits. It came in. Ryan Till advises he was going to be coming back in again. And we saw that car crabbing when he was leaving pit lane. He is back in, and they have been there for some time. So the damage clearly a bit deeper than first thought by us as well as the team, clearly. But boy, this battle continues to be impressive. This is second and third now. This is for second and third in the GT1 division. Ron Fellows right now has opened a margin up pretty smartly. They do a nice job. And the number 37 of Clint Field now has come back out and is back in his pit stall. Cal?
Well, what the team has to do is to prove to the officials here, as he just did, that it can fire up under its own power. I just spoke to Brian Alden, the crew chief. He said it was a major wire from the battery all the way back down underneath the engine bay, underneath the exhaust. They had to change out. Very difficult to get to, very hot, of course, at this stage in the race. But the key is now they're 30-odd laps behind. They can't afford another problem of any major length, because they still have to get that 70% distance in laps tonight.
They'd be very well advised now just to circulate the racetrack till they get to that 70%. They're not going to race with anyone on the racetrack now and make up that deficit of what they had to spend in the pits there. So keep the car alive and get your 70% win your championship.
I think Calvin made a very good point, though. They've lost, some 30 laps in the pit, so I mean, they just have to keep going, because that's 30 laps down. That's somewhere you've got to find a chunk of that.
That is boring from the race driver standpoint. They're in the car now, and now all you do is drive. Whoa!
Yeah, Beretta that time.
Got Audis behind you. Beautiful. Audis behind you. 2 Audis. There goes one more.
That's Ray Gangla, the crew chief of the number 4 car.
Looking inside.
Oh, look at Borchler going to try and follow him through. He's there. They touch. They hit again. Double contact.
Well, and Olivier Beretta getting more than his fair share of
driving. 16 laps. 60 to 70 laps to go. Keep it up, buddy.
I mean, Borchler dove down underneath, and it looks like he may have, there was a second contact. But remember, that 63 is running without power steering, and tough to make those corrections.
But the door was open and Olivier let it open, so Terry took advantage of it. Olivier wasn't ready again. They slammed there. Terry can't do anything with no power steering about this incidental contact. He's holding on right now, all he's got. Here they're going to both get an unsportsmanlike driving warning, and I'm glad it's just a warning. They both realized it was unsportsmanlike anyway.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, for Borchardt, that first contact, if you went to opposite lock to try and save it, the car scooted on, and you can't get that wheel crank around that quick. So, racing incident, but a warning nonetheless. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. By Slime, the best way to prevent and repair flat tires. Go to slime.com for a dealer near you. And by Yamaha, now celebrating 50 years as the world's motorsports leader. We are back at Monterey. Big problems for the Maserati as it was struggling anyway. And then just a few moments ago, Dorsey, you could see the remnants of a lot of fluid down on the track, courtesy of the Maserati.
All the way down through here, you see the big sheen. That's all antifreeze and water that came out of the nose of the Maserati. Actually, it goes all the way up to the tip of the corkscrew, and it did catch a couple of guys out as they hit that water. Take a look here. There it is. It's just pouring the water out. You see underneath it.
You see the left front corner is all wrinkled.
And then watch this. His car's behind it, not aware yet that that's happened.
There's the Celine.
And it goes off, and it's in the water.
It threw something up.
Watch here, almost T-bones. I mean, that was close. Goes over right up to that guardrail and does not hit it. Another look of it. Off to the outside.
That's a piece of the under tray.
Yeah, and then I'm sure on the curbs.
Incredible close call with that vet.
The brakes have gone down. I'm sure when he hits the pedal, there's no brakes because of being on the curbs, I guess. No brakes, no power steering. That's not very good. It's very sad. It's fighting very well.
I wonder what the underpart was.
Up and down, up and down. Okay, leave it, down a bit, down.
Well, you heard Johnny just
Hey,
screaming.
Johnny.
Forget it, let me get out.
He's got damage here to the left bottom of the nose, but you got to wonder if the nose, the under tray from that point back isn't what we saw go fly. If it did that, in fact, it'll have lost a lot of significant downforce on the nose. And it could, in fact, tear off the rest of that. We'll see.
Watch for traffic outside. Once you see Porsche right there. Okay, so clear behind him.
Good news, bad news. The handling will be shot, but it was on his return. Without the power steering, all that downforce on the nose.
Yeah, these guys are putting in, they're getting the money's worth, the drivers on this car today with no power steering and all these problems.
Well, we are so fortunate that all of that stuff that was dumped on the track was coolant because of evaporating up, and never even had to go full course caution at this stage as we hop on board with Puro right now, sitting in second, but almost 21 seconds back of Shimoda in the Zytek. And Shimoda on clear track, look at those times.
Yeah, the reason Shimoda's running 1:16.9 and Manuel's playing 1:19.9, 3 seconds, almost 4 seconds slower. Shimoda really giving a presence of himself here this weekend so far.
Yeah, but as you saying that even the cool now, the darkness comes and it's getting very, very, very tough. I mean, the Audis have been on the softest tire all day, and now Puro comes in for fuel.
The 37's picked up debris right on the nose. It's part of that, probably part of the Celine trapped into there. Maybe when he brakes here, he can shove it out of there. Come on, get on the brakes hard. Right in the brake dump.
All right, let's get down to Calvin.
Well, the number 2 car is in. The champions-elect, Puro and Biela. Piro's going to stay behind the wheel. We may see a tyre change. Typically, they do the tyre change whilst the driver change are being made. But we just saw JJ pit a few moments ago. He stayed in the car, fuel and tyres on the one machine. So right now, Manuel Puro is talking to his crew chief, Graham Taylor, engineer there, just trying to determine whether they're going to put tyres on. The guns are at the ready, so I'm assuming they're going to go for it. like it's going to be fronts only. I don't see any rears over the walls. It looks like it'll be front tire change only.
We've seen that happen a few times this year, Tom, just going to the front. Why does that work so well?
It works. It's actually a little bit because the tires for this race, the condition, I guess, are cooler. So they're running on the softest tire, which works well.
JJ's going to be right there when you come out. I had to do it to try and stay ahead.
Okay, he has a shorter here. The tires, I mean, they have a little bit too much understeer, and the cooler it gets more. So they have more wear on the fronts because of understeer, and that's why you get a good balance this way. But let's say, honestly, it is a little problem to do it that way. I mean, it would have been better to change all four, but it's to get the handling balance back because it goes towards more understeer towards the run, and especially as it gets cooler. And
I think we heard the radio call too. They were saying we had to just do fronts so that we could keep the lead. So that was crucial as well. And by the way, while we were documenting everything going on with the number 63 Celine in that water, we ended up having a stop by the number 1 Audi as well.
Look right here, a little bit too much speed with those new tires on the front. Can't make the corner.
Brian Till?
Sasha Mawson has brought his brand new Porsche Spyder into pit road. This is the first full pit stop that these guys will do. Changing drivers. Lucas Lohr getting strapped in. They will do fuel and tires, obviously. Anytime they're going to do a driver change, they will do tires. Before new Michelins on the Porsche. So far, everything going smoothly. You would expect that. This Penske organization, so well known for the details, and they have paid attention to the details. But as soon as I say that, the guy changing the right rear has had the lug nut fall out of the air wrench. Just a minor glitch there. Several of these guys have come from their IndyCar program to help out over the weekend, still trying to sort out what the full-time crew will be like. Looks like pretty much all the top. Lucas Lohr now gets his turn behind the wheel.
And by my reckoning, as I watched Mawson step out of the car with a whole 5 minutes and 36 seconds to spare.
That's cutting it close. It's fascinating, that Porsche completely, every single piece of it. The Audi boys are going at it hard. That's the reason for the 2 tires. They knew that the team car was coming.
Boy, Leto, a little wide in that turn. He floated out there, but Pirro couldn't quite get it to stick underneath. Boy, Leto got out of 6 quickly.
Still, I think the front tire's not with the grip level yet.
Well, we saw Pirro only take front tires. They were just checked in with Graham Chambers, and when Frank Miller did a double stint earlier on, they were a little concerned about front tire wear for Pirro to get to the finish. He also said that we should be good on fuel. It's going to be marginal, but we should be able to go the rest of the distance without another stop. Obviously, JJ pitted a little bit earlier. I checked in with Brad Kettler. He said, man, if we go green the rest of the way, we will definitely need a splash, and they're banging on some yellow laps here to help them out.
Well, Dorsey, there's that fuel strategy we talked about at the very top of the show. Now that we're walking into the last hour of this thing, number crunching going on huge here. This is going to be amazing to see exactly what unfolds here right now. Shimoda out front, but Leto and Pirro having a great battle right now for 4th. Tom Dorsey, so we want to say thank you so much for stopping by. It's great to have you here, even though you're not driving. I know you're going to be doing some celebrating tomorrow with Champion. And again, congratulations on that 7th Le Mans. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. I will go out and enjoy the rest of the race. Thank you very much.
You bet. Here's your P1 leaderboard. Welcome back, everybody, as we are in our final hour at the Monterey Sports Car Championships, and our overall race leader, Hayanara Shimoda, is in. Brian.
Greg, routine stop. It's fuel only. They will double stint these Michelin tires. He should be go to the end. We've seen how strong this Zytek is. 3 races, 3 pole positions. Will it be 3rd time's a charge for victory? We'll find out. Shimoda will take this thing all the way to the checkered flag.
Dorsey, he's done nothing short of brilliant since he got behind the wheel of the car.
Yeah, he's really showed what he's made of today, no question. He's run the fastest race lap. He's run down all the fastest times. He's been very aggressive without having an accident. If you look right there, that's James Weaver. Right?
Interesting
interestingly enough, guys, they did decide to change just the right front tire, and now they're having a problem getting it restarted, but he's back underway. No, he stalled at leaving, but we'll have to see. Did they think they had a puncture, or is it just wearing this right front tire?
It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And here comes Weaver, and he's coming in. He was closing up, but now he's going to make the move into pit lane.
Now, this is strange because he already made a pit stop not long back, it seems. It looks like he's unbelting as well.
So he's getting out. Going to turn over to Butch. He would
Yeah, I don't understand all this. It looks like he's in a bit of a panic.
Brian?
James getting out. Obviously, they'll take 4 new Michelin tires if they're doing a driver change. Leitzinger in. It's a routine stop, and it seems strange that they would do this. We saw the Zytek team keep Shimoda behind the wheel and only change that 1 tire. Obviously, this is going to be a much more lengthy stop. Weaver helping get the belts on for Leitzinger. The crew waiting for the fueling to be done. Remember, no work can be done on the car other than the driver change being affected until the fuel is in. So they're going to have to wait until the fuel flows before they can begin to change these tires. And it seems like it's taking a long time, almost an eternity for these guys. Fuel is in, and now they'll go to work changing the tires.
Hey, Brian, if you recall, when they did their stop to switch from Leitzinger to Weaver was fairly early. Was this a possible consideration running afoul of the 3-hour rule?
I think that it was early enough to think about that, but we'll definitely check that out, Greg. Right now, Butch trying to get the car refired.
Don't step on the gas, Butch. Clear, go.
AR power plant, but he has now got it fired and is back underway, guys. We'll check and see if it was a time issue.
Well, the interesting thing here is now you've got the Zytek Dorothy who didn't do tire change, and you've got Butch Leitzinger with a fresh set of tires. Meanwhile, this is a battle for position right now. The number 20 of Andy Wallace and J.J. Leto right behind as they come by, start-finish. And this is, in fact, for position at this stage.
That's a 3-car battle for second place because you can't count on J.J. Leto just short of this. And you see right now, 2 taking a look right out front. You're looking right into where you need to go.
Hand me the fingers every lap, please.
Yeah, that's Leto just in front of him is Wallace. So this is essentially second, third, and fourth right now at this stage. And let's go down to Calvin.
Well, this should be the final stop for the number 14 today. Olivier Beretta jumps out, Ollie Gavin in. And I think this team is getting awfully close. If they're not already there on the 70% distance of the overall leader, they need to complete to get some points and clinch this Drivers' Championship. Olivier Beretta goes over to Doug Feehan on the wall. They're shaking hands, so I think they believe the subs are done and their task is done. Also, it's really like a basketball game, waiting for the 4th quarter here. 4-hour race. We're just over 3 hours in, and they'll probably unleash Ollie Gavin now and let him take a few more chances. He tries to wrestle the lead away from the 3 teams. Got a routine stop, tires are done. Beautiful stop by the Corvette squad.
Well, at the top of the show, we talked about 70%. 70 was the magic number, and we're 3 hours plus into a 4-hour race, which would indicate we're past that. But it does come down to laps. Just as a reference point, last year the overall leader at this race did about 119 laps. We're past that. So 70% looks to be the number, and there's a number of championships that now could be clinched or are clinched. But first, let's check in with Brian Till.
James Weaver had a great dice with Hayanari Shimoda out there. Came out a lot cleaner than it did in Atlanta. But James, on this last stop, why the driver change? We thought you might take it to the end.
No, our original strategy was to split it up. But we got a little bit out of sync and didn't quite work out how we wanted. We just think, 2 hours around here is a long time. Butch is absolutely mighty around here, so we thought with a new set of tyres, pop Butch in at the end, we might have a chance.
Does he have anything for him?
I hope so.
I've got the feeling they think he does, guys.
I kind of question that 1 tire on the front.
That's different.
That could be the nemesis of Shimoda. I'm not sure, Usually 1 tire throws the balance off pretty badly left to right. I mean, it's not too bad trying to do a front wheel swap like that. Putting fronts on, but trying to just one side, it's kind of strange.
Meanwhile, this battle continues for second at this stage. Wallace, Leto, Piro, 21 and 2. As they come up underneath, the margin is 25.5 seconds. 25.5 seconds from your leader, Shimoda, the Zytek, back to Wallace.
He's asked twice now to read him something every lap. Couldn't quite get it.
Calvin?
Leader in GT1 is in the 3-car. Ron Fellows haven't done another great stint, turns it over to Johnny O'Connell. Now these guys need a good clean start. Remember, the 4 cars already done their final stop. They had a good one, so the 3 teams need to do the same thing. These guys won the pit stop challenge yesterday, 20 grand in the bank. What are they going to do with it? Well, they're not going on vacation. They're actually going to build a gym in the workshop so that these guys can work out and be even better and be even faster next year. So the work never stops on this Corvette squad. They keep raising the bar. Everything looks good so far. Tire change is done. Release the jag. Dan Biggs finds it up. Oh! I think there may be a problem on the right rear. The guy in the right rear, just as we were talking about how great this squad is, this could be devastating in terms of the wind here today. I believe they think the right rear was not tight or the wheel was not located correctly on the pins. And the right gunman definitely said no, no, no after he was waved out.
And remember, you can't throw it in reverse and back up on pit lane. That's an automatic DQ, so the crew has got to go chase the car down. Fellows did a great job of recognizing that immediately and stopping quick.
They were on the radio to him, told him to stop.
We're looking at the gun here. Get the car back in the air. Tighten it up. Now it's on the way.
Now they're a shame.
Oh, man, devastating.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Well, Calvin is absolutely right. Devastating for that team. After the way Ronnie had driven and the battling he'd been doing, unbelievable. And 57 of Brabham has just picked up the lead while Fellows is sitting on pit lane with that fix.
But again, they made the best of a bad situation. They realized the problem that they had, and instead of throwing it in reverse, which could have happened, it made them DQ. They did the right thing. They pulled the car back in pit lane. They corrected the error. So that's how you win these championships and things.
But as he was making his way down the pit exit, Ollie Gavin went by the number 4 car as well. Remember, the championship is down to those 2 cars in that same team. And even with the 3 winning, if Gavin was second, third, thereabouts, they were still going to clinch it. They believe they have clinched it, obviously, with that finish. But still, to finish with a win would have been huge. Could it be any prettier here as we show you the GT1 leaderboard? Glorious. Tonight on Speed, step into the tunnel. It's Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain. Sound off on what you think about your favorite series, driver, or latest controversy. Plus, the biggest names in racing always stop in to chat. Everybody's got an opinion, so what's yours? Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain tonight at 9 Eastern, only on Speed. Welcome back. We are giving you a good look here at our overall race leader, Hayanari Shimoda, the Lego Star Wars Zytek, coming up to put another lap on one of the Aston Martins. And Shimoda has been some magic as he got behind the wheel of this car and has been doing some absolutely phenomenal driving. But I'll tell you what, the guy that opened up in this car did some pretty amazing stuff of his own. Brian?
I was going to say, Greg, you may say that Hayanari is magic, but what about Tom Chilton? He qualified the car, put it on the pole. And Tom, it looks like it's been a flawless race for you guys, but interesting on that last stop. The only tire that was changed was the right front. What's up?
Yeah, I just think when Hayanari was out there, it's very easy to flat spot a tyre here on the bumps, and I think he flat spotted it, so that's why we changed the front right. But yeah, it's been a flawless race, but in the pit stops, while we've been racing, I don't know how, but one of the air jacks is broken, so it's not coming up properly. So you got the boys like trying to lift it and do the tyres, which isn't the fastest way, obviously, but no, we're still out in the lead. I think we've got a 33-second lead right now, but it's been a long, hard race so far. We've both been driving inch by inch perfect, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, it'd be great to see you guys in Victory Circle. Maybe when you get there, you can take care of the crew guy. Maybe when you get there, you can take care of the crew guy that was just making faces and hand gestures behind your head during the interview.
I wouldn't, don't you worry.
No. It's obvious one thing he doesn't need now is a puncture with an air jack down. These cars are lifted on either 2 or 3 air jacks. You plug the air hose in, it pops them up. With one of those being down, if that tire went flat, it would really cause some long stuff.
And as we're watching Shimoda, you notice that flash of yellow in front right there, and that is the number 4 of Oliver Gavin right now. And Gavin has picked up the GT1 lead at this the stage, and Dorsey, we're going to go back and show you how that unfolded.
It unfolded because he's already won the championship and they took his collar off, so no shock. As you see right here, they take the shock collar off and he says, I will take this position, I am the champion, as he drives right around the Aston Martin. Right here was a little dicey though. And then look, he just runs away.
He does, and now he's got it's the lap car now with 58, Pedrolami right in front of him, and Chilton right behind him. Chilton's got a knife underneath. Let's see him go, no worries. Meanwhile, the Intersport Lola's in. Cal?
It is. Clint Field just jumped out, turned it over to his dad, and Clint is trying to capture this Drivers' Championship here tonight. He's certainly on the fine line of making 70%, but unless the Mazda win, the championship will still be his. But John Field just fired it up, but fired into life, but immediately cut out. He fired it again, and then stalled again. It wasn't really a stall. The engine just cut out on him, so there's another problem here underneath the hood of this AER engine.
They can't afford to sit in that pit lane very long, that's for sure. They need to get that back on the racetrack.
Maybe something, maybe some gear shift issue. No, they had the steering wheel on and off 2 or 3 times there, so now he's working all the switches. This is very frustrating. Clint is just shaking his head on the side of the pit wall here. He can't believe his luck here today. The hood comes off once again.
Well, the amazing thing is right now that Porsche RS Spider is this team's best friend in terms of that driver championship for Clint, because if they can keep that number 8 Mazda at bay, that's going to be incredibly helpful for Clint Field Championship home speed. The devil.
That being said, they still have to complete 70%, which is a floating number out there somewhere. We don't know what it is because of this car running. They need to get it out there. They must be very close without question, but still no guarantee.
Back down there again, and this car is so fast, but it has had so many unusual gremlins in it this year. I mean, you know, the most spectacular, of course, the big fire in Road America, but they just battle these little things. They've had turbo problems and all kinds of things that have just been pesky.
These cars are very, very electronic, and they're sensitive to a bunch of different things. The turbo, like you say, the engine on those AER engines really stressed. So much can go wrong.
Lucas Luhr now behind the wheel of the DHL Global Mail Porsche, and he's running very quick laps as well. It's not like they left Sashi in the car because he was hands down the fastest driver. I don't know what exactly the strategy was they were playing, and Lucas is running just as quick as anybody at this stage. Calvin?
Well, just a quick update on the 37 machine. It is the paddle shift. I saw the steering wheel come on and off a few times, and now they're working. They may be changing it over to, you know, the regular shift and do away with the paddles here. I believe they have the capability to do this, just like they do on the Dyson machine. So, you know, it's just frustrating. They wanted to finish the season on a high. I think the championship will still go Clint's way, but this is not the way they want to end up their season here at Laguna.
Well, that's true enough. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the team that really is the one that Clint Field is battling, and it is the BK Motorsports Mazda here. Guy Cosmo behind the controls right now, and that Mazda in its first season has had some pretty impressive runs. Actually got a win at Mid-Ohio, was second in its first race out, but just lacking in speed, and that's something that they're looking at addressing. I believe there's a pretty good commitment there from the team, from the factory. They may even have 2 cars, and they're going to really rework things in the off-season, but they still have an outside chance of this championship.
They do, yeah, for sure. They will probably redo the chassis completely or get their own chassis for next year, as Porsche has done. So you watch right there, the Miracle Motorsports, the number 10. James Way, behind the wheel now. And he's actually unlapped himself, and he's gotten himself on the same lap as the 10 Miracle Motorsports car right there. And he's trying to run him down for position. He's not that far back now. Some 8 to 10 seconds.
Gouet is going to really get home, so yeah, he just has to really put his head down at this stage.
He's much quicker than the Mazda. I have to say that. Now, honestly, this car is much, much faster than the Mazda. If they're fast enough to get to it or not, I don't know that yet.
Well, James Gouet has but one chore at this stage, and that is to do exactly what we've been talking about. And there in the Telesis Intersport pit, people a little bit concerned. Here's the current P2 standings. Your top 5. Luhr leads it. Welcome back, everybody, to a magical time, really, at a racetrack during an endurance race that goes from daylight to darkness. It's the Monterey Sports Car Championships, dusk and it is absolutely beautiful. The lights on the cars come alive, the rotors come alive, and it's just a very special time in many ways, especially for spectators that are enjoying the action here, and a huge crowd on hand once again at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. There's your leader, Ayanari Shimoda, continues to just chip away at opening up that margin. It's up to about 37 seconds right now over Andy Wallace, but still well over a half hour of racing yet to go. Now in GT1, we have had some unbelievable action here throughout the course of this race, and moments ago we had another brilliant move here by Ron Fellows, who has been just flying around this track. It's now Johnny O'Connell after the pit stop, and O'Connell living up to Fellows' style of racing. Dorsey, look at this move.
Ronnie really on his game, coming inside the 57. It's very close quarters. That's turn 5. It's kind of a difficult off-camber entry anyway. Ron just smashes through there. He has really been on his game today.
Actually, it's Johnny O'Connell. O'Connell got in on the last stop, and he has been just brilliant since he got behind the wheel as well, trying to pull out a win here. But of course, that long stop, some problems for this team at this stage. You can see we're coming up to the last half hour of this, and we want to lay back and let you enjoy the sounds of speed, and it is awesome here at Laguna Seca. First, we're going to hop on board with the number 31 entry, York Bergmeister at the controls. We hop on board with the number 37 Lola in the hands of John Field. By the way, Patrick Long was in the 31 car at this point. Enjoy this.
And look at him, he is shifting on his hand.
Paddle shift disconnected. Now we hop on board the 57 of David Brabham in this very unique low angle. Folks, hope you enjoyed the sounds of speed, and right there, that third car behind the two Audis is the number 50 that is currently leading in the GT2 class. Robin Liddell now behind the controls, and the car is running very, very quick, but Calvin, we understand all may not be well.
Well, it's not really a question of any problem, Greg, but they took the lead over after the 31 Peterson car just made their final stop of the day, and I thought for sure that they would need some more fuel to get to the end. I just checked in with Bull Orban, and he said we're within a lap or two of making it. We're certainly going to roll the dice here and wait and see if that engine comes on Robin Liddell before he heads the pit lane. So it's going to be very close here. They're going to be running on fumes if they do make it to the checkered flag without a start.
So he continues to run in the lead, but obviously nerves starting to get a little bit wound tight here, I would think, as we are now into our final half hour. Here's your current GT2 standings. Welcome back to the Monterey Sports Car Championships, the final round, the 10th round of the American Le Mans Series for right now. for this great season of racing. And there's a great look at our overall leader, Hainari Shimoda, dropping through the corkscrew, in and out of the lights. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's pretty cool there as he's working down through that 10th turn, heading into turn 11. And you can see a lot of transitions, Dorsey, from light to dark and light to dark.
You can only see that here on speed or if you're in that helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. And as Hainari working through traffic and just cruising along, want to update you on the goings-on in GT2 currently. It is Liddell leading, but in second in the class is Patrick Long, the number 31 Peterson White Lightning Westward Ho Casino entry, and they are sitting in second spot, which is easily good enough for them to have clinched that championship. And certainly looks like they have done exactly that at this stage, as we are well past the 70% point, and that's all they had to get to. So one would suspect there's going to be a lot of celebrating going on here. Keep in mind, it's the first ALMS championship for Jörg Bergmeister. He's got 4, 3 with, it'll be his 4th, 3 with Porsche, but his first ALMS. And amazingly enough for Patrick Long, he's got 5 international and national major karting titles to his credit, but never won in a car.
And Jörg Bergmeister, obviously this is going to be a personal victory for him because, of course, he was a factory Porsche driver, lost his contract last year, so basically got shunned by Porsche, and now comes back to beat them at their own game. Good for you, Jörg.
And he has been, I mean, magic. You look at the qualifying laps that he threw in at certainly Road America. Just the drive he put in there, again, almost going over the limit, but they didn't want to take him out of the car because he was so impressive. I think he really has let people know that was a mistake.
And also, don't forget now, Robin Liddell in the Panos is questionable on whether he can make it on fuel. So this is not like it's out of reach for Patrick Long right now to be able to win this race.
Well, the other very important thing as we talk about this is, as I said earlier, both Long and Bergmeister said, we want to win the team championship for the crew because they have made it happen this year. Remember we talked about midpoint of the season where they rewired that whole wiring harness?
And a big spin right in front of them. You see when the Porsches go up. Yeah, they went to a new ECU unit. That was the 79, the Rockstar Porsche. Who,
Justin Jackson, I think.
Jackson, who just had that spin right in front of Patrick. Anyway, it wasn't as easy as plugging in an electric box. They had to rewire the entire wiring loom, a very, very hard procedure. And boy, they've been on the money since.
Oh, and they just continually say our crew has made this happen, our crew's made this happen. And if they finish second, Dorsey, that's good enough regardless of what anybody else does, what any of the Alex Job teams do. Second will clinch that team championship for Peterson White Lightning. So that is crucial right now that they're sitting in second to lock up that championship as well. Didn't look like Justin Jackson was off track into the gravel, so if you get a restart, he ought to be able to drive off it. We shouldn't be able to have a caution. Well, he's trying to do that right now. Of course, I'm sure that Robin Liddell is praying for a caution at this stage.
Well, he would be, wouldn't he? Yeah, local yellow only right now is that Porsche. I agree with you. I don't think it's in the gravel. It doesn't matter whether it can restart. If we look at the new Porsche Spider, Lucas Luhr behind the wheel, one of the quickest cars on the track right now, was the fastest last lap. That car must like the cold.
Yeah, the only car that's running consistently quicker laps now than that LMP2 Porsche is the Zytek Shimoda. And so, yeah, Lucas Luhr, this car really is being very effective right now. And we get the report, 79 has been able to restart. Justin Jackson has that J3 Porsche back underway. So with that, as we're watching this beautiful new Porsche in its debut, an impressive one at that, check it out right now.
Right, one of the most interesting bystanders down here is Roger Penske, obviously more than just a bystander, calling a lot of the shots that are going on down here. Roger, a long-standing relationship with Porsche you had back in the days of sports car racing when you were involved, and you've rekindled that relationship. How is it?
Well, it's a great day for us. You know, we have another 30 minutes, and this would be, what I would say, a great test. But getting back with Porsche has really been a terrific time for us today, a great time for our team, and they're a great partner.
Well, in the development of the car, how far along are you? Does it still have more room to go? Can this thing win overall?
Well, we're in P2. I don't think we came here to win overall, but I think we came to test to see how our people can do in pit stops, the reliability, and just we got our fingers crossed we can make 4 hours. It looks very good right now.
To get the victory here today, how would that compare with your victory here back in 1962?
Well, I think finishing first in class is what we came for. Obviously, you'd like to win overall, and you know, 32 years ago, we had some real power.
Well, he says they didn't come here to win overall. I don't think maybe they intended to do that today, but I got a feeling they think they can do it in the future, guys.
Well, they've certainly shown that pace. And by the way, this car continues to lead in the LMP2 division comfortably at this stage. And here are the other class leaders as well. Welcome back to nighttime at Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca to be exact, on the Monterey Peninsula. It is the Monterey Sports Car Championship's final round of the 2005 American Le Mans Series, and what a race we have had, especially in the first 3 hours, with just some unbelievable battling unfolding in a number of different classes. Currently, Hinari Shimoda has opened up a bit of a margin, but let's go back into GT2 and hop on board with Patrick Long as he is driving that Westward Ho Casino car, sitting in second with a potential shot at a win here, and having a very, very impressive run for this team at this stage. And of course, it is going to be some championships on the line here. And Calvin Fish, one of them, of course, is the driver's titles.
That's right, Greg. Jörg Bergmeister, it's nice to say you are a champion now in ALMS. Congratulations on a great season, mate.
Yeah, finally I made it after being that close last year with AJR. No, changed the team and won the championship. It's great to win it with Peters and White Lightning. I think we have an awesome car. Stefan Pfeiffer did an excellent job on the setup again, and I think over a stint we have the quickest car out there, and it's looking good for the end.
Tremendous season. Started with the win at Sebring. You won Petit. I know you'd like to win the third endurance race of the year here tonight. Can Pat run down that Panos?
I hope so. I think when I was out there with them, at the end, he should have the fresher tires now, so I think he should be able to get him.
All right, well, Pat actually got on the radio, spoke to Dale White. He said, can I go for it? He said, go for it, buddy. Go for the win. They're going to try and make something happen here in the final stages of the race.
Well, then why not go out, win your championship with a victory? Again, second would get them that team title, which is also important, but it's even sweeter when you get the win.
And again, we talked about the beginning of the race. One of the Porsche keys to the race was fuel strategy. Now we have two strategies playing out. One of these cars, of course, is okay. The other in question, the Panos with Robin Liddell, the fuel light apparently just come on. I mean, this fuel mileage situation we're going to see here, who can do what?
Well, we just got word that the fuel lights in the #1 Audi have just come on as well. So apparently those cars are looking at being a little short here in the fuel window.
Greg, it's not just the Audi. I just checked with Chris Dyson. He said Andy Wallace in the 20 car is in the same straights, and he said we're just going to see who blinks first.
Yeah, well, we were watching Wallace as was running second, and now he's back and forth. And I was just wondering if maybe he was conserving fuel, and it sounds like that may very well be the case because the times have dropped off noticeably. Everybody's struggling to get to the end, and this extra hour and 15 minutes has really kind of thrown us all into the ethers, is a way of saying it.
That and the 5 cautions that we've had today, you know,
good point.
A total of 23 laps under caution. So depending on where they fall and how your car does, it makes a difference.
I'm going to take you back and give you a look at how the #2 of Emanuele Pirro snuck by Wallace.
I think Andy is just on the conserve. He's probably turned the mapping, you know, to a conservative map, so he's not as much running as much horsepower. He's getting some fuel out of it. We just heard on the radio that the #1 was told to go to map 1 and to push it. So JJ Lado.
Really? That's interesting. He's trying to just build a little bit of a margin, get into a splash, and hang on. But for hearing that they were in fuel trouble, that seems interesting. So it'll be interesting to watch this. By the way, I want to update you on what the LMP2, I had said going to the last break, talking about the Porsche that was leading and leading comfortably. Numbers crunching going on, not by me, so it can be trusted. That right now, the Intersport Lola of John Field, but Clint Field in terms of that Drivers' Championship, about 73% of the #6 Porsche laps complete. Remember, you have to complete 70% of the winner in your class. So right now, if that 37 car can just keep on clicking them off and get to the end here, it looks like Clint Field will indeed be champion.
Oh, and one in gravel trap, we're going to caution.
That's the 78, had another problem. One of the J3 Racing entries, I believe now it's Marco Petrini behind the wheel.
Wow, we don't have much time left in this race either. Hey, look at this. The Celine with a bunch of smoke. He's been involved with this car. He's got damage to the Celine. on the left front. Maybe a tire down, but definitely damage on the Simcoe number 63.
Third in class at the time.
See how bad that.
Well, he didn't come into the pits either.
That's Molam, Johnny Molam, saying that the car moved over on me.
And he is just streaming smoke. Kind of can you have to wonder why he maybe didn't duck into the pits. Meanwhile, Dorsey is even figure out what happened here.
Well, there's two cars real close together there. They bumped, and that was right in the brake zone. Pretty good hit there for the corkscrew. That was under hard braking.
So,
well, now I'm hearing on the radio that they're told the number 1 to go to map 2 and conserve. So that didn't work. We are going to get a full course yellow, and we're going to be within 10 minutes of the finish.
For Molam, it looks like the tire looks fine. It looks like it's tire rub.
It could be
body
tire
work
rub
down on there. Maybe that's why he just elected to stay out. But still, an iffy proposition at best. You're going to cut that tire down here.
You see some pit stops here.
He's definitely not on the pace at this stage. And what a shame. He was third in class and now has dropped to fourth officially as Pedro Lamy in the Aston Martin has been able to sneak by. So, boy, another day of so much promise and such great competition for the Simcoe Saleen team, and problems late in the going once again. And so here are your 4 leaders in our 4 divisions, and we'll be right back. 10 minutes remaining here at the Monterey Sports Car Championships, and it's getting very interesting. Calvin.
Well, JJ Leto had to come in. He's a little bit heavier on fuel than the other Audi drivers, and they were looking at the computers, poring over the numbers. They thought they could just scrape it through, so they had to make the decision to bring JJ out on the pit lane. Now, this really has some championship implications, because remember, JJ and Werner are only 3 points behind Chris Dyson in this championship starting this race, and 2-position advantage would have given them enough points to jump up into second in the points. So we'll have to wait and see what the 20 car does if they can make it on fuel.
At this point now, Wallace has picked up third, and that is Chris Dyson's teammate, of course. Leto is back in fifth. The question is, as you said, is what does Wallace have to do? How are they at fuel? Meanwhile, Brian Till.
Well, it's going to be tight, but I wonder how much of a poker game was being played. Obviously, with the lights on down here in pit road, you can look down and you can see the other teams. The Dyson team had the 20 board set up. They had the fuelers on the wall, looking like they were setting up for a stop. I wonder if they suckered the guys into pit road. Meanwhile, just next door to Dyson, the Simcoe Saleen has come to pit road. There's a lot of damage on the left front of this car. Looks like perhaps some bent suspension pieces because the left front wheel was locked up when he came in. It was low also on the left front as it came in. The car sitting down, the left front wheel was locked. Right now, crew looking at it, trying to determine whether they can get it back on track. I talked to Jeff Giangrande, the team owner, earlier, and he said,
"We're done, Johnny. We're done. Chuck is broken. We're done."
You just heard him say, it's broken, we're done. Jeff Giangrande said, I feel like we've got a dark cloud following us. We've got the speed. We've put in the performance from time to time. And you can see Johnny Molam sitting behind the wheel, shaking his head. Very, very disappointed. They got to do something to shake this bad luck.
Well, Brian, the replay that we saw going into the corkscrew, Molam was on the line, if you will, and the Porsche was off to the left. Molam, it looked like he was going to sweep the outside and then drop into the corkscrew, and bang, he said the Porsche just moved over on him, and that did it.
What a shame for our pole sitters. Yeah. I mean, these guys have done just a tremendous job all weekend long. All of GT1 does put on a show today.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And keep in mind, they've been doing this whole race without power steering, so these guys physically are just going to be fried, and then they have this mental duress as well. And here we go, the leader in the GT2 category, Robin Liddell, has made a stop. He is heading back out. The question is he going to be able to hang on to the lead? He did have a pretty healthy margin, but no, Long has gone by. Patrick Long and the Peterson White Lightning Porsche has picked up the lead.
That's on board right now. That's in turn 3, headed toward us in turn 4. And of course, the Panos just now coming out of pit lane. So that's the way you want to do it. You want to go out with a win. You get the championship. Let's go out and win the race too.
Sure. 7.5 minutes remaining, and you got
the 50 car pitted for a splash of fuel.
So he's leading, and this not only obviously they're champions, but this will certainly lock up the team championship. And that's going to be very satisfying indeed. And you know, think about the season. They won Sebring, it looked good, and then they were nowhere for a while.
This is a roller coaster for these guys, no doubt about it. Until they rewired and got that new ECU, they were stumbling really badly. It took them a little while even after that for things to become good.
We should clarify that new ECU brought them par with the Alex Job team. It wasn't some trick piece that took them in front. It brought them back to that level playing field, and boy, did they maximize it.
And this team said, you know, I can't do what the other team's doing. We got to be more innovative than they are if we're going to beat them, because otherwise we just follow.
Absolutely. And now, folks, we want to take you back to something we always enjoy in our shows, and that's showing you the Mobil 1 move of the race. And Ron Fellows' magic is what unfolded here.
This is Ron Fellows' magic, no doubt about it. He
Right
really
in
puts
front.
on the power moves.
Look at this right here. That first Corvette in the...
Says, I'll take that lead from you.
Threaded the needle, got by the Maserati. And that was his second great move of that lap. It was a lap of brilliance by Ron Fellows, and that's your Mobil 1 move of the race, and understandably so. And we also, the audio from, we're listening to Dan Binks on the radio while Ron was doing that. I thought Binks was going to blow a van, and he was so pumped up about it. It was awesome. And as you can see by the clock right now, we're under 5.
Wow, it's going to be an interesting.
Shimoda leads it. Pirro is second. Wallace is third. So Chris Dyson looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, but I don't know about that fuel situation in that 20. You know, I don't know that they can make it all the way.
Well, he's been running laps in the high 120s, low 121s for a long time. So maybe that is exactly the cause right there.
Just checked in with Chris Dyson. He thinks that they can. He also had a big smile on his face. Exactly what I was saying might have been the case was. He said, we turned all the lights on, we set the crew up on the wall, we set the board out, and I know that the guys down at Audi thought we were coming in. They came in, we didn't, we got them.
Dorsey, you do that in racing to your competitors?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Snooker, it's called. Snooker.
Absolutely. Threw out the hook a bit. Well, hey, that's part of the game. It was a little strategy, a little psych, and it worked out. So right now, Wallace is looking pretty good here for third. And keep in mind, though, leading in LMP2 fourth overall is that Porsche. Not so bad.
The other side of that coin is he could be lying to us, too.
That's true. That's very true. Well, we'll find out if there's a sputter from Wallace here.
Another 4 minutes. 3 minutes and a half.
Coming up and dealing with some pretty serious traffic right now. And, you know, with all the battling we've had, the number 4 Corvette, you know, we've got a great field of P1 cars here. Obviously, the Porsche P2 has been strong, but Gavin and Loretta, they're running 7th overall right now.
We've seen intense racing in all 4 classes for 4 hours. I mean, there's nobody in this show that's run away with anything. Everybody's had to battle it out for the entire day and now into the night.
Just had a shot of the number 2 Puro. There's the 51 Panos. And there is the number 4 Corvette. Oliver Gavin, as you said earlier, the shock collar's been taken off, and he's been out having some fun right now. And just really has been throwing down some very impressive laps. O'Connell is second, and then it's the 2 Aston Martins, Lamy and Brabham, third and fourth. And the number 6 is in, Brian.
Talk about needing fuel. It looks like the guys down here at Penske were just a couple of laps off. Lucas Luhr brings the Porsche Spider in.
Now, do you really need the fuel, or just not showing as much hand as you got play? We don't know about this Porsche, folks. I mean, it's brand new, it's quick. We don't know the fuel mileage it gets, and we're getting dealt a bunch of different cards by Roger Penske. I can guarantee you, master statistician, he won't let us know any more than he wants us to know.
Absolutely, but he's letting us know this car can certainly be effective, let's say, in LMP2 right now. And that stop, obviously, not going to hurt them. They had a pretty significant margin in the class. Still important to point out, I think, that by our reckoning right now, the 37 of the Fields and Liz Halliday is well above the 70% margin they needed relative to the number of laps that the number 6 Porsche here has completed, which means Clint Field will get a championship.
And I'm really glad to see that for Clint Field, because that team has worked real hard this year under a lot of different circumstances that really hit their fault.
And the white flag flies. Shimoda now on his last lap. And for the Zytek, he's getting through traffic. boy, what sweet revenge this would be after what happened a couple of weeks ago at Road Atlanta. And again, this team making the commitment to come over and run these last 2 races, getting pole there, and then having it all go away. This will be awesome.
Just past the Dyson car right there. I didn't get the number on it, but here you're on the white flag lap, and the leader's behind you. Why would you want to go one more time after 4 hours?
Yeah.
Let him go.
Absolutely. And by the way, just real quick on that Clint Field situation, as we said at Road Atlanta when we actually got a little bit ahead of ourselves, he will be, when he wins this championship, the youngest ever champion, not only in ALMS, but in IMSA, because he's 4 months younger than John Paul Jr., who won the IMSA title in '82. So, a pretty special year. And for Clint Field, I mean, he had a number of wins last year and just missed the championship. So, this is going to be a sweet moment as well. But there is Shimoda one last time through the corkscrew, through Rainy Curve, down into turn 10. Oh, they touched! They touched that car. Don't know who it was, but there was definite contact. And Shimoda now, last time through turn 11, accelerating up the long straight here, and the checker flies. The Zytek, after 3 poles, has come through and picked up a long overdue win.
Absolutely. These guys really had to go through a hard time this year just to get that win in there. A lot of problems, a lot of wrecks.
On board here with the 31 of Patrick Long as he makes this turn. He's going to be coming to the checker and putting an exclamation point on the championship they earned. We heard that before at Road America, and I think it was even louder this time. Look at the party going on there. Remember how important it was. Look at York right in the middle of it. They said it's the team championship meeting just as much, and these guys are coming unglued. Well, you know, they fought back, man. They did what they had to do after that Sebring win, and they kind of fallen off the map a little bit. And here you go, the celebration. You see Lucas Loris, he has now taken the checker, which means a win in the debut race for the new Porsche RS Spyder.
You guys.
And here we go, number 4, Ollie Gavin. Not just a championship. Became a father for the 3rd time about a week ago, and now it's a championship to go along with a win at Petit, a win at Le Mans. Pretty awesome year for Oliver Gavin, and of course Olivier Beretta as well.
And the Corvette guys, all of them, you know, all the crews, the 3 cars well. You know, you see them all right there. Nothing better than have a situation like that with the whole car team and celebrating. You beat yourself.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, hey, here's a figure for you here. Corvette Racing extended their record, their 40th win as a team, and their 26th 1-2 finish. We'll visit with a number of drivers when we come back. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. The ALMS season has come to a conclusion with an unbelievable race. And up front and overall in P1, here's what happened. Shimoda and Chilton get the win in the Zytek, the first time ever since the Audi R8 came into existence that it hasn't won here. Vila and Piro, who already clinched the championship now, second place finish, and Dyson and Wallace, a little snooker move maybe, end up filling out the podium. And then you see Leto and Werner, Viver Leitzinger, Lewis and Willman, and let's check in with Brian Till.
Well, the celebration's taking place down here right now. Ayanari Shimoda and Tom Chilton both being lifted up by their team. Ayanari, fantastic drive there to finish the race. After 3 attempts, you finally take your victory.
Yes, thank you very much. Finally, we could win. So, yeah, until now, yeah, we had many troubles, then we have many crashes, then finally we could win. So we are very happy now.
I'd say they're very happy. Tom Chilton, we had a chance to talk earlier. I noticed that one of the first people to congratulate you was Rob Dyson. He said, make sure you come back. Let's do this again. You coming back?
Yeah, for sure, we'd love to come back here next year, but as you can see just then, that explained it all. Everyone's face is picking us up in the air then. That explains everything.
Well, big celebrations for the boys from Zytek down here. After 3 races, they finally found their victory. Guys?
And Brian, clearly a great car, but great drives by those 2 very young drivers. What a future they have. So here are the unofficial results. And obviously, you take a look and you see that the championship was clinched by Piro and Vila, but Chris Dyson going to move up. All right, and let's take a look at the results in GT2 of this one. Long and Bergmeister get that win. Another one to add straight. Oberlin and Liddell so close, but for fuel. And then Rockenfeller and Hensler in third. Here's the rest of the look. Let's go down to Calvin Fish.
Well, a big day for the White Lightning team. They take the team championship. They get the win here tonight and the drivers' championship for the two boys, Jorg and Pat Long. Pat, your first drivers' championship in a car. What's your feeling right now?
I can't even describe it. It's all about these guys right here. These are the guys that make it happen. But what an awesome race. Again, we came with a clean nose and pulled out more wins than anybody in this championship, which feels really good.
You had to keep it clean. You had to get to that 70% mark to make it for sure tonight. How tough was that? And how about going for the win at the end of the day?
Well, I couldn't believe what was going on early on in the race. There was just complete chaos on the track. So to stay out of that was a big challenge. I wanted to go up and fight with Rocky and Romain. They were having a good one, but it just turned out perfect.
And Jorg, for you, I know it's a special victory here tonight to win the 3 endurance events and claim that first driver championship. Last year, you should have won it with Timo. You missed the first round at Sebring. That cost you the championship. Now you have one for yourself.
Yeah, it's perfect. And the perfect way to end the season. 5 wins. I mean, couldn't have gone any better. And I'm so happy for the guys, the whole team. It's the first championship for them as well. So it's a perfect day.
Congratulations, boys. Well done.
Yeah.
That team knows how to party. Here are your final standings at GT2. Bergmeister and Long get the championship. That 4th straight win. Romain Dumas and Timo Bernhard, boy, close. And obviously had some issues today when they got helped off the track. And that ended up being the margin there. 34 points. Jorgen Bergmeister absolutely earned it. Now let's take a look at our final standings in the LMP1 division. Emanuele Pirro and Biela had already clinched it, but Dyson, with that great move and that great drive with the help from Andy Wallace, ends up second. Leto and Werner will settle tied for third. Not many points back, only a few, but that was enough. And as a result, there you go. But Pirro and Biela adding a second championship for each of them and doing it just an absolutely fabulous job. We'll be back for more from Laguna Seca. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the oil that's changing oil. By Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Mazda, there's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. Welcome back to the Monterey Sports Car Championships, and we want to show you the results in the GT1 category after the conclusion of this great race. Gavin and Beretta get the win in the championship. Fellows and O'Connell, the teammate. And Cox and LeMay, the Aston Martins, having a good day as well. Calvin Fish.
Well, a championship for Beretta and Gavin and Ollie. Gavin, I'm sure the win tonight was just the icing on the cake.
Well, yeah, it certainly was. I mean, this has been a hell of a race today, and it's, you know, we've had every single car leading, I think, in the class. And, you know, it was Olivier did a fantastic job at the start there, keeping a cool head, keeping the car underneath him, staying out of trouble. But again, the 4-car boys did a brilliant job in the pits, and the C6 was just hooked up today. There was nothing to touch it, and I'm just so delighted that we've managed to come away with a win at the end and also the championship. It's brilliant.
Congratulations. Quick word with Ollie, Beretta, Olivier. What a day. How tough was it for you at the beginning of the race to maintain control? The big picture was the championship. We had a great battle going on the racetrack.
Yeah, I really want to push, but at one point I said, okay, be aware, be with the brain on, and just think about the championships. The target was to finish 1 and 2, and Ollie did a huge, fantastic job. GM, everyone at CompuWare, and the whole crew did a huge, fantastic job this year. We have Le Mans, we have won Petit Le Mans, today we have won the championships. It's the whole effort of the team, and they deserve it, and I'm very proud to be a Corvette driver.
Congratulations on a superb season.
Thank you.
Drive with the brain on, and boy did they. Here's the final standings as Gavin and Beretta get the championship. Close, only 19 points over O'Connell and Fellows. It was a great battle all season long. Now, let's take a look at our results in the LMP2 division, and boy, I tell you, you can't debut any better than this. Mazda Raceway, the Porsche RS Spider from Penske Motorsports, he didn't even get a win in the Porsche 917-10 back in the 70s in their first race. That's pretty impressive. Let's get down to Brian Till.
Well, Greg, they're back. Lucas Luhr and Sasha Maassen. We've seen them win many times in a Porsche before. It always had a roof on it, guys. This one doesn't have a roof on it. To come back and win again, but now in a prototype, which one of you is going to tell me how sweet it is?
It's really sweet. I mean, especially after a whole year, you know, working, not really racing, went testing, and nobody really did care about us. And everybody put a lot of work into that, you know, Porsche and also Penske Motorsport. And now come here the first time, show up and win. It's really sweet.
When he said nobody cared about him, I think he just got tired of not drinking champagne. They're back, boys.
Well, they are back with a vengeance, and take a look at the standings here in the LMP2 division, though. Clint Field got it. Finished more than 70% of the laps, and that's all he needed, and long deserved. He should have had it last year, it just didn't pan out that way, so Clint Fields ends up with the championship. But a great season for Murray and Buckram, and for the debut season for Cosmo and Bach, missing second by a point, that's pretty stellar, and we expect to be hearing a lot more from those guys when we get to the end. So congratulations, Clint Field, the youngest ever champion, as we said, in both ALMS and IMSA by 4 months. A couple of big notes here. One, the win by Beretta ties him with O'Connell and Fellows for the most ever ALMS wins at 24. The win for Maassen, interesting story, gives him 23 career wins, but he now is the only driver to have won a race in every season of ALMS competition. An unbelievable achievement. Just the one this year, but it was still amazing. It has been an incredible season, and Dorsey, just absolutely phenomenal. Certainly been enjoying this immensely.
Yes. The Porsche debut was great. I mean, P2 it bodes well for next year. The P1 boys, it's going to be a great season. More cars. This competition couldn't be any better. We saw races all the way through the wire today. All 4 classes really showed us a good time.
Well, Scott Atherton said the racing's great. We get a few more cars. It's going to be spectacular. Should be absolutely phenomenal. And at this point, folks, we thank a lot of people as the season unfolds, but I'd like to make a special mention of a remarkable group of people. It's the TV crew. You don't cover a series like this and endurance racing like this without some amazing people in the truck and certainly out in the camera scaffolds that are out in all the weather and doing all of this. They are amazing. It has been an absolute honor to be a part of it. For all of us here at Speed, thanks so much for joining us for this remarkable season. We'll see you again next year.